Championship weekend, Championship Friday. It's still 4th and Friday. We're still going, everybody. And I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. You're more than welcome to call in. Anything goes on the Joe Show, as you all know. We have extra hands tonight. Skaz is here as well. Jake Seymour helping us out as well. And you can call in 617-779-0985. We'll be joined in studio tonight by Dan Lifshatz, everybody. The Bankroll Boys are back. We'll break down championship weekend. Got thoughts on the Patriots and some of their new coaching acquisitions that they've made this week. We'll continue to react about Josh McDaniels. There's tons of more audio out there as well. The Bruins, I have a hot take that on the Bees that I will get off my chest at least in the first hour tonight. But and we're on YouTube. What's up to our YouTube fam? Everybody hanging out tonight. I had people asking me, "You're going to be on YouTube tonight? You're going to be on YouTube tonight?" Yes, we are here. I already see people in there. Einbein, Sean, Tom G. We got James. What's up, everybody watching right now on YouTube? So now that we've gotten all that out of the way and we have set the table, my leadoff thought is this, and it's on the Boston Celtics. The struggles are real. Last night, I missed somewhat of the first half. I saw a little bit of the second half, and then it was Zonk City for me. But just to give you an overview of the Celtics, if you watch the game, something isn't right. I'll tell you right now, my take is it's Joe Mazzulla. And I'll give you some of the numbers and just the facts. Stats, facts, that's how I work. Our eyes do tell us something differently, though. There's a problem there. And I think it's Joe Mazzulla driven. Over the last 7 weeks, the Boston Celtics are 12-10. If you look at their last 20 games, they're 10-10. Just their last 10 games alone, they're 5-5. And in the month of January, they're 7-5. They have a chance to go 3-1 on a road trip. A long West Coast road trip where some thought this was the toughest part of the year. Remember the old Derek White audio from a couple of months ago? It's the toughest stretch. They have a chance to go 3-1 with a win over the team they beat in the NBA Finals, who were without Luka and Lively. So, I mean, no mistake about it. Your eyes tell you there's a problem. So they have a chance to go 8-5 in January and 6-5 in their last 11. It's not pretty. Those are the numbers. I mean, they started the year 19-4. What a stretch, huh? But the loss to the Lakers last night, 21-point defeat, the largest of the season. The trend is that now they're losing multiple games by double digits. Now their fourth double-digit loss this year. And that's just in the month of January. They didn't lose by double digits all season going into this one. They're still 31-14. They have the third best record in the NBA. And quite frankly, they're the only team in the NBA that's top 5 in both offensive and defensive rating. So on the long view of it is, hey, the third best team in the league, top 5 in offense and defense. What are we all worried about here? But there are some trends. And the fact is, this is a fact. No matter what other people tell you, the fact is, the Boston Celtics are shooting less threes, and they're missing more twos. Pull-up twos this season. Just a couple of players here to bring it up to you. I'll bring up Jason Tatum, and I'll bring up Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's really struggling. Last year on twos, he shot 47%. This year, he's shooting 37%. It's just become too inconsistent. I'll get in more of the players in a bit, but as a team, the Celtics shot 38% from the field last night and 34% from three. It's very easy to say, well, they shot 34% from three, that's why they lost. But over their last 10 games, they ranked 25th in field goal percentage and 26th in three-point percentage. And all 4 of their lowest scoring games have come on those double-digit losses. So it's the twos and the threes, and inconsistency is no doubt a problem here. The Celtics have a bunch of built-in excuses, right? Like they're giving a lot of leeway because they are clearly the best team in the NBA. Inconsistency is one thing, but the late game malfunctions are another. Last night was just a lazy display of a funk or inconsistency being exposed on national television. It's funny because I was slacking with Skaz before the show today, and I mentioned a couple of things such as free throws and games without, having a lot of assists, and Skaz just writes, defense. And it's true. Their defense sucks. They're not trying out there. They're not trying. Their biggest issue is their philosophy. So if you want to blame it on threes, fine. I'll bow to you. But when I tell you they're shooting less threes and they suck more, that's a fact. People think I'm yelling. I'm not. One major problem is the philosophy. The Celtics finished last night shooting 42% from 2. And at the rim, they were 38%. They're shooting less threes, and their two best players are struggling because of it. Just listen to these numbers, 3-point attempts by month. In the month of October, okay, percentage of their shots being 3-point attempts by month. October, 55%. November, 57%. By the way, they went 12-2 that month. In December, 54%. They went 8-6. In January, 49.9. So 50%. Their 3-point attempts are going down by month. That's a fact. Their record is worse in the month of January. Why? They're shooting less threes. They're struggling more at 2, and they're playing zero defense, not hitting any of their free throws. And when they don't pass the ball or make the extra pass, generally they lose the game. So for all the people who say the threes, they're shooting less threes and they're worse. Facts. Jason Tatum attempted a season low 12 shots last night. How? He's also shooting 31% from 3 in January. That's a problem. Jaylen Brown's 2-point shooting percentage. I mentioned this season, he's shooting 39% from the field. Last year, do you know what he shot? 48%. Twos. They're leaning on twos. They're shooting less threes. This is a philosophy issue. Something has changed. Joe Mazzulla was on the air today talking about it. He's asking guys to do different things. Jaylen Brown said, yeah, we're trying different things. They're all trying to stick together as the coach is changing some sort of philosophy. Why are they shooting less threes? What is going on there? How in the month of October, they had 5 games in the month of October, shot 55% of their threes. They went 4-1. 57% in November. They went 12-2. 3-point attempts by month. It keeps going down, and they keep getting worse. So is it the threes? I just want to debunk that because they really suck from 2, and it's showing. This team's built to shoot volume threes. That's what they're built to do. They're changing it up right now. They're giving certain minutes to guys. Tatum used to play the whole fourth quarter. Now he's not. They're trying to work Jaylen Brown into the mix. And when he goes to the basket, he's just not the same guy. He is not the same guy he was a year ago. And quite frankly, Jason Tatum, for all the great pub that I gave him about changing his shot and shooting his 3, he's been horrific in the month of January. So when your 2 best players aren't playing well, you're struggling as a team and your philosophy is bad, this is the funk that you see. I blame that on the coach. That's where I start. We'll get into it a little bit more here on the show. We'll get Skaz's thoughts. And your thoughts as well at 617-779-0985. I have way more Celtics notes. Way more. But I had to get that out. The 3-point attempts are getting worse as the season goes along. What I mean by worse, lower amounts of 3-point attempts. this team, although they are super talented and probably don't need to shoot 63s to win, it's how they win. I called them front runners last year for a reason. Because when they played and got ahead of everybody, everybody else tapped out. What happened to that philosophy, Joe Mazzulla? What happened to that? Yeah, it's not this. It's the same team as a year ago. They're not playing like the same team a year ago. I blame the coach. We'll leave it off there at 617-779-0985. Got more Celtics notes as well. More stuff on Mike Vrabel and his impact on the team. And, well, I guess he likes to go to the airport from what I gather as well. And a quick thought on the Bruins as we're here until 10 o'clock tonight. Full show. We'll have Dan Lifshatz in studio. Championship weekend. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
All right, back here at 98.5, the Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. I actually got to tell you, Celtics-Lakers, I wasn't jazzed up about it because I think the Lakers suck. And they're not a good team, to be honest with you. And last night, well, you know, this isn't me defending the Celtics by any means or playing on a back-to-back. There's a lot of, like I said, there are a lot of things when it comes to the Celtics where you can give them leeway. Right? The number one thing is they are the most talented roster in the league. So you would think that they're, you know, so talented that in the end, talent comes through. There were so many other excuses early on for them. How about Kristaps Porzingis coming back in? I don't know how many times I said, well, you know, the starting five's back and, you know, they're still trying to adjust. I will say this. When they had the whole starting five the other night against Golden State, they won by 40 points. So the Celtics can literally beat Golden State by 40 and then lose to the Lakers on a back-to-back by 21, their worst loss of the year. Like, that's where they are right now. So I think they can figure it out, but the problem, to me, is on the coach. Why did you stop playing Mazzulla ball? Why are we getting less Mazzulla ball? People hate the threes. On this station, wherever it is. Reggie Miller last night. Keep talking, bro. I heard you. They were taking some horrendous three-point shots. I was zonked early on. I ended up like catching the late in the game, and I said, these guys suck. Just like I did the other night with the Bruins, I ended up watching Shawshank. And I got Shawshanked all right. And I started thinking about hopes. And then I remember when Brooks was here, I started saying Bruins were here. Anyways, my point is last night, Tatum, Brown, funk. And just getting back to the Porzingis take, he's been amazing. Since he's come back, he's been awesome. This might be one of the best runs Porzingis has had in his life. And the team sucks. So I would wish I could contribute their struggles to working Kristaps Porzingis back into the mix. Unfortunately, no. The only number I can look at is threes because everyone wants to look at the threes. How do they shoot tonight? How many threes do they do? Has anyone looked at how many threes they started the year with and how many they're at now? Because it's getting lower. For the crowd that says they shoot too many threes, look at the team now. Go back to Mazzulla ball. I don't know if that makes Jaylen Brown better at twos. I didn't realize he went from 47% to 31%. That's a ginormous drop-off. Jason Tatum of late has been holding his wrist or his hand like crazy lately, and I brought it up at last year when he got the cortisone shot instead of having surgery. Is that bothering him again? He changed his shot. I'm trying to give them every excuse in the book at this point. But the only thing I can look at is either the workload when it comes to threes, because it's declining. It's declining, and they're worse. Let me give you some more numbers here. And I already mentioned the second night of a back-to-back, the fifth game in 7 nights. Oh, they had those unnecessary 5 minutes. Remember those in overtime? Yeah, those worked great. But Drew Holiday, Derek White, and their bench shot 14 of 44 from the floor last night. Drew Holiday's three-point percentage last year, he was 43% in the league. 8th in the league. Do you know what it is this year? 35%. It's 126th in the league. That's a drop-off. 8th to 126? Woof. The Celtics have struggled mightily from the free throw line. 12 of 18 last night. Jason Tatum went 4 of 7. Jaylen Brown went 0 for 3. What is going on there? And on one of those, they missed all those in a row. They could have cut the game to 8 points at that time. I think they were down at halftime. They made a big run early on. And then they missed those free throws, and it kind of blew up. Tatum's really been the most consistent player on the team, but his consistency of late, I blame the threes, he's struggling so bad from there. Yet his usage rate, which we brought up the other night, when he has a low usage rate, the team loses. I'd love to know what the usage rate was last night. I'll go look it up. How about that? But Porzingis, he's now been their most consistent player. He's called out the team after losses. I'll say this. They have one more game this weekend. They should beat Dallas. Without Luka and Lively, I don't know, though, at this point. But the schedule sets up really well for them. They have no back-to-backs until after the All-Star break. So if they want to play consistent basketball, now's the time. So I'm not ready to freak out or small C concerned. I'm not there yet. Can you just show me a little bit more consistency? Because one night you beat a team by 40, the next you lose to the Lakers by 21. Your three-point shots are getting worse. How about Derek White? Let's use his numbers. You seen what he's done over the last 8 games? He's shooting 33% from the field. He's shooting 25% from 3. He's averaging under 10 points per game. This year, he's only had 10 or more points in a game 3 times. He's had less than 10 5 times this year. So my question, Joe Mazzulla of Mazzulla Ball, at some point, are you going to give Derek White and Drew Holiday a break? You know who else has been improving lately, but it's not showing because the team stinks? Sam Hauser, shooting 43% from 3, yet they're shooting less threes. In his first 24 games this year, he shot 35% from 3 because he was coming back from that back injury. And the best player outside of Porzingis right now, and oh God, Skaz, this is why they suck. Luke Cornett's been pretty solid. I know he wasn't much of a rim protector last night. I think they're trying to showcase Jaden Springer. Maybe that's another thing that they're throwing in there. But I ask you, Skaz of the Green Teamers. By the way, those numbers, you know who looked up those numbers? I want to credit him. That was Barstool Greeny, who mentioned that the 3-point attempts. It is wild. Mazzulla Ball works, everybody. They won a championship. People want to complain that there's too many, and it's the reason why they lose. But now, every month, the attempts are going down, and they're getting worse. So what do you attribute to them not playing Mazzulla Ball anymore, Skaz?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting mix of things. I'm still small C concerned, Joe. I thought last night was, it's a tough spot for them. I think the biggest thing for me last night is that they were healthy, is that they rested guys against the Clippers the night before, and they went into that game with what was, a pretty healthy roster, especially for them, and they just looked uninterested. That seems to be a theme of the last month, that they're just uninterested in playing team basketball, uninterested in playing defense at all in some of these games. That's frustrating. I think Derek White took 3 threes last night. He was 1 for 3.
They were bad.
One
of them like didn't even go in the direction of the basket.
So I'm with you that I think a guy like Derek White, he might need to sit a night. And I know that's, we played Missoula Sound from a week ago where he said, that we're going to keep riding, Derek, Drew, these guys are going to keep playing because that's what they do. That's what we do. But it's not working right now. And yeah, you bring up the threes, I think is an interesting point because this is who they were last year. This is who they were when they were at their best, when they were at their most dominant. They were shooting a historic number of threes. And this year, I think teams are defending them better. I think teams are trying to take away that 3-point shot more. And that's when you do have to look at the coaching and say, can you get these guys easier looks? Is it something where they're being run off the 3-point line so much they're uncomfortable because they're trying to run that same offense and they're not able to? So I think it's a mix of things right now. I still have it small C concerned. I'm not overly worried about the Celtics, especially in the East. I think they're still, the best team in the East. I know the Cavs are going to be the 1 seed, but I still take the Celtics in that series. But, when it starts to add up, 5-5 in their last 10, they had a stretch of 15 games where they were not great over the last month as well, month and a half now to this point. So it's just these little things that keep adding up. But I think that's the frustrating thing when you're a fan is you're watching them and it's small little things that they continue to not do on a nightly basis, like play defense, that's contributing to these losses.
The other thing I'll just throw in there is Missoula has said that they're trying different things,
which I think is good. I'm not opposed to them trying different things.
This is the time you want to do it. But is it I keep saying is something going on in the locker room. I think they all get along. I really do think that. But I'm wondering if Jaylen Brown is the challenger. Do you get what I mean by the challenger? Like, he's really struggling. And I'm wondering if it's because of the things they're asking. He even said it. They're asking him to do different things. So they're not the Celtics if he plays like this. Like the Celtics we saw last year.
Yeah, Derek White's a big part of that as well. And I think the rotation is something that we've kind of been more focused on in the last 2 weeks where, last year it was kind of give Jaylen Brown the first quarter. First quarter Jaylen was maybe the best player in the league last year. He was dominant in the first quarter. And now they've gone back and forth with it. It seems like they're going back to their old rotation of last year where Tatum would come out at the end of the first and sit for the beginning of the second and then come back in. So that's something I've been watching in these games recently. Kind of, Tatum's always kind of started slow. I know he led first quarter scoring for a little while, but that was a new thing this year that they were going to Tatum early. So I wonder if they start to go back to giving Brown the ball more in the first quarter and kind of trying to get him in rhythm early on in these games.
Pretty critical take. No, didn't sound too green teamery, right? You guys do the podcast this weekend?
We will be doing one. Yep, we did our last one Monday because of the holiday after the Warriors game. So a little positive there, but I think we'll have some negatives to talk about on Sunday.
But think about it. They beat the Mavs 3-1 road trip.
Yeah, if they beat the Mavs, then no issues with the road trip.
Still top 3 in the league. No more back-to-backs till the All-Star break. Like on the whole, they're still a good. Even though they're not.
They're still very good. They're just not historically good.
No, they're still top 5 on offense and defense. Even though I agree with you. No, I actually, the percentage of defense I saw last night had to be under 10%.
It's never good when Bronny's out there in the fourth quarter, Joe. Oh. That's never a good sign.
Just real quick, Jaden Springer, I think we know what he is. He's a former first-round pick. He's always had ankle issues. He's not doesn't have the greatest stroke, but he's more of a off the ball dribble kind of guy. But Sam Cassell loves him. Like that, this is his guy. Well, I think he's practicing so much against these guys. He's becoming this elite defender. And I almost wondered at times if he can be used. But I wonder if they look at it as since they're shooting so many less threes. Don't you think he should play more if that's where they're going with it? But I do agree, Missoula ball, he doesn't fit what they want to do.
Joe, I'm in favor of anyone that wants to play defense playing more right now for this team. So, yeah, if they want to give Springer some more minutes, he gives them some energy off the bench. He actually had a couple good buckets.
Had a big one. Did you see Harden, by the way? In his street clothes, barking at him right there. And then when he hit it, he looked at him and he went, Harden. He's a little too close to him right there, I thought.
Little Mike Tomlin situation there.
Really close. Really close. But you know what? I do think they're showcasing him. Because really, with the cap, if he makes let's say he makes $5 million, right?
I think it's around 4, but yeah.
So it's really $40 million, right? So if they can somehow unload, he's a former first-round pick who really just hasn't played. And now that he's been around these guys, I think whoever gets him is going to get a decent player. So anyways, I think they're showcasing him. Maybe that's another one of these things that they're doing right now that they have to do because they're trying to work on things. Anyways, I know some people want to get in on this. Let's talk to Sean. He's in the car. What's up, Sean? Hey, Sean.
Thanks for taking my call. You kind of already started to speak to one of the points I wanted to make, and is that their defensive rating is actually pretty decent. And I think what we are witnessing is they are primed for the postseason, and they have little to no interest in the regular season, and that's on full display right now.
Yeah, and Sean, my only pushback on that is if you start to, like Gary Washburn says, nobody fears the Celtics anymore, and they can come into the building. That's what I worry about when you play like that. You give these other teams confidence, and and that. Like that can go a really long way for some teams.
Yeah, my only pushback on that is that they've historically been maybe the best road team in the playoffs in NBA history over the last couple of years. They win and everybody else is building more often than just about any team in the history of the NBA. So, yeah, other teams might not be scared of playing the Celtics. They're still going to lose 4-1 to them, most of the time. So that's just who they are right now. Small C concerned. But yeah, I mean, if we're still having this conversation in a couple months, it's a totally different story. It's January 24th. They're one of the best teams in the league. I still think the best team in the league. And if they don't come out of the Eastern Conference, then it's a colossal failure. But we're not there, Joe. We're not there yet.
Oh, this team doesn't win?
If they don't come out of the East, I think it's a colossal failure.
This is why Missoula, he's pretty confident. Like when you win a championship, I'm sure you get some security, but they're given a lot of leeway. I will say that. And I know that people in this town want to really get in on them. But I think they're a little nervous because they are the best team. And there are these teams that can turn the light on. I know Kyrie said that they can do that, but that didn't work then. John's in Plainville. Hey, John.
Yeah, hey Joe. As the world turns in Boston sports media, the panic. I don't think the media and the fans are connecting anymore because you guys sound like Dr. Smith and Lost in Space. And when I look at these stats of the Celtics last year, it's only a 4-game difference. Now, who are they going to play in the Eastern Conference? I don't know. Who are they going to play in the championship? I don't know. But to think the Boston Celtics, I'd watch the Celtics in 72. They're going to lose between 20 and 24 games. So you have, 10 more shows to panic. But they're going to the Eastern Conference Championship because they're a good team. They're the best team, one of the best teams in the East.
Hey, John, I think you're criticizing the wrong show.
No, I just think the whole Boston media thinks they have to panic and scare people.
Listen,
it doesn't work. No, Joe. My point is, it's only a 4-game difference from last year,
I know.
And that was a historic amount of wins. They were good teams. Who would want Joe Mazzulla to leave the Celtics? He's a great coach.
Well, John,
come on, enough.
Did you listen to the show or no?
I just listened to the monologue and the ranting.
And what do we not agree with?
No, we agree they were one of the best teams in the East, but you're worried for some reason
because they have the same record
they did last year.
Wait, hang on, John. You said that there's a disconnect between the media and the fans. You literally aren't listening. I think that the problem is you. I think you're the problem.
No.
Yes, you. Did I once say I was worried?
No, Joe, you didn't.
You at least gave a small C.
Small C.
That's not worry.
I think that's reasonable. You should be small C about the defense they're playing right now. I also appreciated his Lost in Space reference, a show that ran for 3 seasons from 1965 to 1968. So
because he's been watching since 72.
Very, very topical.
No, do I have to do this all over again? I just literally told you how bad they've sucked, but yet they're top 5 in offense and defense. They're shooting less threes. They're worse. Literally just told you all these things that I'm not concerned about, but they're facts.
Yeah, and then he came on and repeated them back to you and said why he wasn't concerned.
There's a disconnect, but I'm sorry. Did you listen to anything I just said? I don't know.
They're a very good team. They're not playing like one right now. I don't think that's controversial.
Listen, it's not a hot take that teams that win the championship really are focused on the playoffs. It happens. It's just that this isn't what. This is why I blamed it on Joe Mazzulla. They're not playing Mazzulla ball anymore, but yet people still want to say they shoot too many threes. And I just gave you the facts that's actually not true at all. That's not true at all. Every month, consistently, they have had less 3-point attempts. I'm sorry if you think that that's negative. It's just facts. Actually, I apologize, but I'm not sorry. We'll get to the headlines here. I'm Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
Wow. Pete Carroll back in the NFL, new Raiders head coach, signed a 3-year contract. He's back.
at the Sports Hub.
Offense only takes the field for one reason, and that's to try to put points on the board. So our number one goal will be to take care of it, and the second part of that is going to be to score as much as we can. And in this, fraternity in the National Football League that we're so fortunate to be a part of, there's nothing like this. You get up, there's an energy, there's a purpose to your day. There's just an evolution to our game that I think is important that you need to respect. This year has given me an opportunity to really consider all aspects of what this job entails. I'm excited about, what we're going to build here and the evolution of our offensive scheme, our offensive attitude, the way we do things, how we practice, and ultimately the way we go about playing. This place has such a special attraction to me. This area is home to me. Super excited that I have an opportunity to try to impact this place. I picked Mike up from the airport when he came here. Always been an extremely hard worker, smart a player as we've had here, as I've been around as a coach. I trust his vision. I really understand what he's going to look for from me and be a part of his staff and what he's going to build here and what he's going to put together and how he's going to lead us.
He's back. Josh McDaniels back. The Patriots released that video, by the way. That wasn't us. Josh McDaniels back. Mike Vrabel starting to fill out his offensive staff. So my take before this morning was, because again, there's this media versus fan thing going on right now, like the caller just said, where some believe that the hire of Josh McDaniels was an ownership move, where other people will tell you it's been talked about for months that it was a Mike Vrabel move. So, again, Josh McDaniels said he picked up Mike Vrabel at the airport, which, again, we don't know if that was current airport. Was that back then? Was that when he went to the Hall of Fame? I don't know. See, so that one, to me, can be manipulated. It could have been superimposed. Who knows? So if you're going to throw that one at me, sorry, not going to take it. Not accepted. Not here. The other thing I wanted to go with is the Patriots hired a new QB coach, Ashton Grant. That was like the Drake song. Yeah, I just went Aston Martin on you. Aston Martin. Anyways, they hired a guy that was the QB, now is a QB coach, but was working with Deshaun Watson and other quarterbacks with the Browns. So I was wondering, why is it the running backs coach that knows Mike Vrabel on the offensive staff and the QB coach from Vrabel staff? If Josh McDaniels is going to run the offense, then how come he can't call in his guys? And then what do we get today? Well, the Patriots are set to hire Riley Larkin as an offensive assistant. Where did he come from? Ohio State. Former John Carroll quarterback. Where? Josh McDaniels went to school. So we finally have somebody that you can link to Josh McDaniels. So, Scott, that's my only thing is that if Mike Vrabel really wanted Josh McDaniels, how come all his guys are on the offense? Wouldn't you think Josh McDaniels? And on the flip side of that, confirmed today by Phil Perry of NBC Sports Boston, the Patriots, no matter who the coach was, were going to hire Josh McDaniels as their offensive coordinator. So, I just don't, the whole back and forth of did Vrabel want him or not, it's clear the Crafts have always wanted Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator. And he's got a guy now, Skaz. Josh has a guy, and because, he did extensive work with Ohio State this year to learn more about the college. So, come on, bring over a guy with him. So that was really all I stand on the new coaches. I didn't know if you had a take on that or not.
Yeah, so basically your fear is that we're doing the Belichick thing all over again. is that, Bill O'Brien's here, but it's all Belichick guys under him.
Yes. If Josh McDaniels is really going to run the offense,
It should be all his guys.
he should be choosing them all. Or at least more than not. I mean, there's already 2 versus 1 right now. 3 versus 1. Also, we don't know who the offensive line coach is or the wide receivers coach is. Do you think Wes Welker is one of them?
I would like to see Brian Hartline, if we're being honest. He's done a tremendous job at Ohio State. They're an absolute wide receiver factory. I don't know if he's ever going to leave. It seems like he's, pretty set up there. But that's a guy I would certainly be interested in because of those Ohio State wide receivers. He's a guy excels at that position, something the Patriots have desperately been looking for. But yeah, Wes Welker's a guy I'd certainly be interested in. And I heard Zoe mention this today. Where's Troy Brown? What happened to Troy Brown? It kind of seemed as if he was demoted last year. Haven't really heard, anything from him. So that's another name I'd be interested to see if he's coming back, what his role would be.
You know what happened last year? Remember Senior Day? He just didn't even have a logo on, but was there.
Very weird, very bizarre.
So maybe we'll have to wait till Senior Day. I mean, not Senior.
I know what you're saying.
East-West game, what is it? Whatever they call it. So anyways, he's running the offense. He's in charge. But yet, whoever the coach was, it was going to be Josh McDaniels no matter what. That's at least the word on the street. I guess that caller was right earlier. There's a disconnection between the fans and the sports media.
But doesn't that make you feel even worse about the whole process, though? Like, do you think Ben Johnson was coming here and having Josh McDaniels as his OC?
Hell no.
I can't imagine that.
Hell no. Do you think any of this has to do with Belichick? And the only reason why I ask is, McDaniel's pretty loyal to him. Like, was this whole thing like, yeah, I'm not going to do it first year because of Bill, and I don't know, does anybody even want to, does McDaniels even, I get this whole take about they're all Vrabel guys, but does McDaniels really have anybody to bring with him? He's kind of burned his bridge everywhere. He could have went to North Carolina, by the way.
Like Chad O'Shea, maybe. I'm trying to think of guys that were here for a while.
Very interesting. I have a hot take on the Bruins. We'll make it quick. We'll do it next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 90. are just his pregame.
They've been getting wholesale deals for years.
It's Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
Well, I'm sure they're still steaming on the power play goal they thought they had.
Right. Bruins bring the face-off back into their own zone. Clock runs out. And an important 2 points tonight here on home ice. Jonas Korpisalo pitches a 30-save shutout as the Bruins beat the Ottawa Senators 2-0.
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. Bruins win last night after a pathetic showing against the Devils the other night. And you heard it there from Ryan Johnson. 30-save shutout Jonas Korpisalo. I hated the Korpisalo deal. I never liked it. I never wanted him. I always thought he sucked. I didn't like the $3 million that they had to bring on it. But overall, he's been pretty solid considering all the struggles that Jeremy Swayman had early in the year. But last year's team, their identity was goaltending. Sorry, this year's team's defense is so bad. Nope, not the defense. No identity. Michael DiPietro got brought up last night. He's AHL All-Star down in Providence, 25 years old, 1.95 goals against, 14-5-4 record. He's been good. If you need to free up some money, trade Jonas Korpisalo. We all know what he is. He's a guy that can be a starter in this league, but has struggled on really bad teams. And this year has been pretty good. Honestly, besides the first game of the year, he's been really solid. I don't know who wants to take on the $3 million. I know there are teams out there that have cap space next year and still have goalie questions. Right? Like Washington Capitals, right? I don't even know if they know who their goalie is. It's just, I'm looking around. Is there somebody that might want to add a goaltender down the stretch? Free up that money. That's my take. If you want to sell high on a guy, it's Korpisalo. Get out of that thing now. It's time to let somebody else play, and DiPietro certainly deserving at this point. All right, that's my Bruins take. Sell high, baby. Sell high. Yes, money's involved and all that, but you know what? That's not my problem. That's just my take. I wanted to get into this one. I wanted to look back at some of the drafts, quarterback drafts. Everyone's expecting a year 2 improvement from Drake May. Let's look at some of the other quarterbacks' year 2s. We'll do that next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is Boston's home for sports.
Zaka cross, they scored. Porzingis point a shot, rebound, score.
WBZFM and HD Boston 98.5, The Sports Hub. The Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
All right, we got no games tonight, so it's a full show. I love it. Jabril Peppers, he was acquitted on all charges. Ashton Grant, new QB coach for the Patriots. Pete Carroll's the new head coach of the Raiders. He also got a 3-year deal. The Texans, they fired Bobby Slowick as their offensive coordinator today. It is championship weekend. Bills, Chiefs, the big one. Washington Eagles, the other one. Taylor Rapp out for Buffalo this weekend. Liam Cohen, well, he's officially the new head coach of the Jaguars, although nobody could find him for a while. But now he's found. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update in 30 minutes.
Some people play the game.
Blocked by Horford.
Some talk about
Let's welcome to the Sports Hub Celtics show, by the way. Jim Murray, Chris Gasper.
The Sports Hub Celtics show with Murray and Gasper, Saturdays at noon on the Sports Hub.
I know that Josh McDaniels is a polarizing guy. I don't know if it's about his face, his visor, how young he looks, whatever it is that he, maybe people find him punchable. I think he's outstanding at what he does. I think he's really good at developing quarterbacks. I think he's done it with so many different times, with so many iterations of this offense. Everybody knows. I mean, from Matt Castle to making Cam Newton somewhat functional, getting Jimmy Garoppolo, ready to play from where he was as a rookie. I think it's a tremendous hire. I think it's going to be great that you basically have two head coaches.
Tremendous hire, says Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal. Two head coaches. I hate every word. Who wants to hear the two head coaches? Who wants to hear that? I don't mean that to you, Greg Bedard. I mean it as in general. They got two head coaches. All right, so one's going to run the defense and the other's going to run the offense, huh? Does that work? Does that work? I mean, they're finally starting to get their coaching staff under wraps, so now they can kind of focus on the roster a little bit because none of this is going to work if they don't spend money or draft better or get good players. But I at least wanted to. Everybody just, oh, God, all you're going to hear about Josh McDaniels is, look what he did with look what he did with Jimmy Garoppolo, and look what he did with this guy and that guy. And I would just tell them, can you look what he did without Belichick or Brady? Can you just do that? Can we leave it to that? Does anybody talk about Kyle Orton, guys? Do you ever hear about Kyle Orton? Do you ever hear about Tim Tebow? How about Sam Bradford? Do you hear about that guy? What about Derek Carr? You ever hear about he was so great with those guys. Stop shoving Cam Newton's 8 touchdowns passed in a season on me. Stop it. That's not me yelling. I did pound the table, though. I will say that. Just stop it. Just McDaniels is not a bad hire. He's not a bad hire. He's got a great resume. But tell me, when you're going to talk about him as working with Drake May, can you do it as though Brady and Belichick aren't there? Because any stop that he's had without either of them, he has beyond sucked. What's worse than sucking? Guys, what's worse than sucking? Because that's what McDaniels is. And you know what? He does have a punchable face, and he does wear a visor. But you know what's really worse? His ego. And that's what my biggest problem was. His ego, Mike Vrabel's ego. How's that going to work? But really, how's it going to work with Drake May? How's it going to work with Drake May?
Can I just give you another thing that kind of bothers me? The hardcore McDaniels defenders, the lovers of Josh McDaniels. Mac Jones, you remember him pushing the ball down the field a bunch in his rookie year?
No.
Remember him letting it fly deep, throwing it up to Jacoby Myers or Nelson Aguilar? Was that Mac Jones' game his rookie year?
No.
It's more dink and dunk?
It was 2001. That was the year they spent all the money, right?
21, yeah.
So Nelson Aguilar really didn't do anything. Hunter Henry was decent. Who else did they get that year?
They had Jonnu Smith.
Oh, that one worked out really well.
Jacoby Myers was pretty good.
He was good. Oh, that was his security blanket, no doubt.
How about the offensive line from that year, Joe?
Wow, okay. Let's guess.
Trent Brown, pretty good?
He was really but he was really good that year.
How about Shaq Mason?
Yeah.
How about David Andrews?
Solid as they come.
Ted Karras?
Damn good center.
Isaiah Wynn?
Still in the league.
Is that anything like the offensive line the Patriots have this year?
No.
No, they suck. They can't protect anybody, and Drake May's whole game is throwing it down the field. So for the people that are, head over heels about the Josh McDaniels thing, I just think it's not as much of a slam dunk as some people think it is. The Mac Jones team and this team are two completely different teams. The offenses you're going to run are hopefully completely different. You need skill players to, make Drake May into what we all want him to be, an elite level quarterback. You also need some semblance of an offensive line. Mac Jones had a very good offensive line in his rookie year. Drake May has nothing close to that. So those are the things that give me pause about the Josh McDaniels hiring. I would be pumped too if I was on Josh McDaniels' speed dial and I was going to be getting calls after practice all the time, breaking down the team. I would be pretty pumped too. But I think for most people, pump the brakes a little bit on the Josh McDaniels hire.
Real quick, what do you think about the two head coaches? Because someone in our chat,
Josh McDaniels is not a head coach.
So someone in our chat, TJW6869, says Spags is basically the head coach of the defense in Kansas City. They're doing all right.
I would say Patrick Mahomes is probably the biggest reason they're doing all right, but I think Spags is great.
I think Spags is amazing.
Like he's
But I
tremendous.
also know who the head coach of the team is.
Yeah, he's Andy Reid. He's a top 5 head coach in the history of the league.
History.
I don't think Mike Vrabel's quite at that point.
They don't have really any problems, right? That we know of, right? Reid and Spagnuolo?
Never.
As far as, no, nothing, right?
Not that I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm. And Spagnuolo's failed before, don't get me wrong. Spagnuolo failed with who?
He was the head coach of the Rams when Josh McDaniels was there, Joe.
My whole thing is this. All right, when you go to buy a house, right? Those guys, when you look for a house, right, what you do is a house goes on the market, and then what you do is, okay, what should we do for a bid? So you look at something that's comparable, comps in the area. And, this one sold for $575. So, but they're asking $599. So you say, all right, we're going to offer $575 because that was $575. Stop giving comps on McDaniels about anything he did with Brady and or Belichick, because now he has neither. So I will throw them out. Like if this was court, out.
Inadmissible.
Can't use it. No. And don't give me the two head coach. I almost just said BS. Don't give me that. Woo. That one was that was a Friday night special right there. Like if we were hanging out at Doyle's or something at JP. Rest in peace. Oh, that one almost slipped out. Somebody said Spagnola. I would like to let you know that my Paisan friend back there would probably be pissed at you.
Spagnolo.
James Scaramazina.
Yes, that's an O at the end. I know everyone calls him Spagnola. I heard Mavs talking about this earlier today. That is an O at the end there.
Sean says, I feel like all this week I've heard is Josh McDaniels. Well, just real quick on that. I did tell you to trade Eunice Corpusalo. I did give you stats on the Celtics. And what else? And, okay, I'll get back to Josh McDaniels again. Was he a craft hire or not? Because that's what you, the listener, that's where you guys hold up. Who cares? Vrabel wanted him. Like I keep hearing that. I just keep hearing it. But yet when a reporter tells you that they were going to hire him anyways, it's just that I would beg to ask you, who else was knocking on the door of Josh McDaniels? The reason why we can't stop talking about it is because the Crafts continue to hire guys being paid elsewhere. I know it's a lazy narrative, but guess what? We didn't start it. And by the way, is it even a narrative, Skaz, at this point? It's fact, right? Because the night show works in facts. He does get paid $10 million a year from the Raiders. That, to me, is factual. Now, could the Patriots give him $2 million and it offsets $8 million from the Raiders? Yes, but guess what? He's getting paid by the Raiders. And just to bring this up one more time, Alex Van Pelt got paid a shade under $3 million last year from the Patriots. But he was fired from Cleveland. So therefore, he got paid a little bit of money from Cleveland and made over $3 million for the Patriots. The fact that Alex Van Pelt was a top 10 paid offensive coordinator in the league, that's the Crafts, everybody. So yes, when we talk about Josh McDaniels, it's not my fault. It's theirs. I apologize. But I am not sorry for this. They did it. And just, again, one more time, because in case the people didn't, because I heard there's sometimes the media and the fans, they don't listen to each other. I just want you to hear me one more time. Because I saw this thing, and actually I saw it on Lifshatz wall, who's going to join us in an hour. But, Skaz, there was this guy, he's like a comedian or whatever. And he gives this little coloring sketch to this little boy, and he goes, all right, Phil, you're doing such a good job coloring in the Patriots logos, right? But then when they give him the Broncos logo, he can't color between the lines. But then they give him the Patriots one again, and he colors it between the lines. Did you see this, Jake? And then all of a sudden they give him the Raiders one, and he just crosses it out. But they give him another Patriots one, and he just colors it right between the lines for the Patriots, but he can't do it for the other team. I think people forget that when he got fired from the Broncos, he went to the Rams, and he failed. So he failed without Brady and Belichick in Denver, with the Rams, and then after another stint with the Patriots, with the Raiders. This is going to be the fourth chance for Josh McDaniels. A fourth opportunity to work without Brady and Belichick. He's 0 for 3. That's just fact, everybody. So you might not like that. You might say, what does that guy Joe know? What I'm telling you is just fact. So please, when you tell me about the job that Josh McDaniels did with anybody while Brady and Belichick were here, it's not allowed on the show. You can only talk about quarterbacks in Denver, Rams, Raiders. That's all you can talk about. Got it? 617-779-0985. You got to be the judge on that one, Skess. Mark's in Norwood. Hey, Mark.
How you doing, Greg? Great show as always. So two things. Which reporters are we supposed to believe? Because you said you didn't believe Bedard when he said that he thought this was a good hire, but we're supposed to believe the reporters that say this is a Kraft hire. So how does that work?
Well, no. I believe what. That is a good point. What reporters do you want to believe? I don't know. I don't believe. I'll tell you this though, Mark. I mean, you listen to enough sports radio to know who has insight and who doesn't, right?
Yep.
So I mean, I'll just tell you this much: like Greg Bedard works for the Boston Sports Journal.
Yep.
His own colleague who works at the Boston Sports Journal said it was a Kraft hire.
Right.
So, to your question, I don't know who to believe.
I don't know either. That's sort of the point.
So then what I did was I used a third party. His name was Phil Perry, because he works here too. And then he said that they were going to hire McDaniel no matter what.
I believe that.
So but I think that's 2 out of 3, right? 2 out of 3.
Two things could be true at the same time. Maybe Vrabel did want him, and then maybe they wanted him anyway too. So
yeah. So, but this is sports radio. You have your opinion. I have my opinion. They have their opinion. That's radio.
So ask Gag if he thinks that the team starting next year is going to be the same. The offensive line, because you mentioned it, is going to be the same offensive line they had last year.
Well, right now, just real quick, right now though, who on the roster currently? Who do they have right now? Because we don't know if David Andrews is coming back.
Andrews coming back. Right?
We don't know that yet.
No, you don't know. No.
So their guards probably Michael Onwenu?
Yeah, no, it's not good enough. So that's my point. Is the line? He was right. The line was terrible, but it's not going to be the same line starting next season, is it?
Well, they have to go and spend money and draft better, and then people have to want to come here. That's another thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not of the belief that it's going to be the same exact line. I just have a tough time believing it's going to be as good as that line in 21 was. They'd have to get 5 new offensive linemen. So that's my only point, is that you're looking at it from what Josh McDaniels did with Brady and Belichick and what he did with a more complete roster. This is not Brady and Belichick, and this is a very far from complete roster. It's a totally different circumstance. It might as well not even be the Patriots. What Josh McDaniels did with Belichick and Brady does not matter. It has no bearing on how he does this time around.
Is it okay if I bring up one more Belichick and Brady thing?
Please.
Was Josh McDaniels responsible for the struggles of the wide receivers since he was the offensive coordinator?
I wouldn't put blame solely on him, but you would think that, people working under him, it would certainly be, on his radar that, hey, Josh, your wide receivers suck. They always suck. Not always. That's not fair. They've had great wide receivers here, but drafting and bringing guys in, they have struggled to do.
Yes, he had Devontae Adams.
Yeah, and Devontae Adams hates him.
Hates his guts. It's true. No, someone wrote in the chat that they're more concerned about his development of wide receivers than anything else.
Fair.
Great question. That's why I wanted to bring up, if you look at it, actually, maybe Jake can help us out with this. Can you look up who he drafted, any wide receivers, when he was with Denver, or I guess if you want to use the Raiders, I guess, too, you can use them. And maybe even the Rams that year. But the Patriots have struggled with wide receivers, developing them. And in the defense of McDaniels, I think Brady was a big problem there. Brady right away had no time for someone that he had to groom. That's why Julian Edelman did nothing for years. Julian Edelman was a punt returner who played defense for a little while. And then finally groomed to be a wide receiver. So just in general, when it comes to wide receivers, I blame Brady for not being able to groom wide receivers. Although I think Belichick selected horrible ones, Brady had no time for it. I will say this. Remember Bethel Johnson years ago? I always look at him. Guy was the fastest in the league, good kick returner. Brady loved him, but man, he couldn't run a route. He couldn't learn the playbook. Every once in a while, he'd break free and catch one, or he'd drop a wide open one, or have a kick return. When you can add other elements, they can tolerate you. But I am curious, can Josh McDaniels help the offensive line, but also find and develop wide receivers? It wasn't something he did when he was with Brady and with Belichick. We'll take a quick break. I see you guys on the phone lines. In year two quarterbacks, just think of some of them. How did they do in their second years? Just go back the last 5 years. Just spitball during the break. We'll get into that coming up next here on the Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe.
off of looking at Josh McDaniels' Football Reference. In 2009, he went 8-8, had a full off season, went 3-9, and was fired after week 13. So I just wanted to look up some of the draft classes, and I know that he's not the guy who's making the selections. I think Elway was a big part of it back then, by the way. But I wanted to just look up if he's developed wide receivers. So let me give you a couple of names. Do you guys remember Sean Moreno? Running back. He was like that first round pick that year. And I'm just trying to think of other guys that were drafted on that team. So as far as like talented skill players, 2009, nope. Broncos, no, but his second year. So that would have been essentially his first full year, and I think that was a pretty good draft for them. And I'm pulling up the draftees from 2010. Demaryius Thomas, pretty good player. Tim Tebow. Zane Beadles, okay. Eric Decker. Those are pretty good wide receivers. Decker and Thomas were really good wide receivers. So, again, it's not necessarily McDaniels that drafted them, but they certainly worked with them. Those are studs. If the Patriots could land themselves a Thomas and a Decker, holy smokes. But, again, it's going to be who making the decisions there? Elliott Wolf, is that what's been told to us? Even though Vrabel might get last say, I can't remember anymore. One's in charge of the coaching staff, but anyways, that's a story for a different day. Wide receiver is seriously something that the Patriots should consider. Can Josh McDaniels improve that? The other thing is the offensive line. Skaz actually mentioned the talent. You do need talent in order to have good teams. Duh, I sound like John Madden right now. Can the Patriots acquire talent? Because I think there's a lot available. If they want to pay it, they'll get them. I don't know. Is Caden Wallace the next right tackle? I don't know. I really don't know. Is David Andrews coming back seriously? I don't know. I think he's regressed a little bit, but I do think they need his leadership. They need to overhaul both positions, wide receiver and line. Wanted to just get into year 2 jumps for quarterbacks. If you look back at it, that 2020 draft, Joe Burrow, hell of a year 2 jump. Tua Tagovailoa, right? Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love. Those are pretty good quarterbacks, right? Wouldn't you? And I know Jordan Love had to sit a couple of years, but as far as year 2, Burrow, Tua, Herbert, Hurts, all improvements. The 2021 draft, you might be able to say that Trevor Lawrence was fine, but he wasn't. Zach Wilson, no. Trey Lance, no. Mac Jones, no. Then you go to the 2022 class. Have you ever looked up the 2022 quarterback class, guys? Because I'm telling you right now, that thing was woof, woof, woof. And I'm trying to give you a year 2 bump. Like guys who could give you a year 2 bump. Now, Brock Purdy is the best quarterback out of that draft. Like Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, Matt Corral, Bailey Zappi, Skylar. Woof. So the whole year 2 jump thing, it really didn't work. How about last year's draft? Bryce Young, I'm going to tell you that this year, I don't think he took a jump. I don't. Was he better than he was last year? He was benched at the beginning of this year. That's not a jump. Now, do I think that year 3 you should expect a jump from him? I do. How about C.J. Stroud? Do you think he regressed a little bit in year 2? I do. And what happened today, Scaz, with Houston?
Bobby Slowick got fired.
Do you know how many C.J. Stroud cards I have that are rookie cards? I thought he was going to be the next big thing.
And I know we're not doing this right now, but the Bobby Sloak thing is exactly why I don't understand why Buccaneers fans are mad in any way at Liam Cohn. These head coach, there are only 32 of these jobs in the entire world. If you get one, you get an opportunity to take one, you have to do it. Bobby Sloak was one of the hottest head coaching candidates in the cycle last year.
Head coach candidate.
Doesn't get a job. He's fired a year later. Anyone that's like, oh, Liam Cohn did the Buccaneers dirty, it's the NFL. Like they don't do dirty business all the time.
The only thing I thought that was done dirty was that he didn't call him. He said he was at his kid's. I don't like.
His wife tweeted that the kid was sick or something. I guess I don't know.
I'm out on people who use their kids as excuses though, but that's a personal thing. That's not a moral high ground show thing or whatever. That's just a Joe thing. But C.J. Stroud regressed year 2, and that's why he's fired. Quite frankly, did Will Levis improve this year? No. My point is this. People have a lot of expectations of Drake May bouncing back in year 2, but the only ones that have done it are the likes of Burrow and Tua. So I do think that Drake May has all the talent and all the tools to take a huge year 2 jump. I just wanted to give you some facts. How hard and difficult it is for these quarterbacks to take year 2 jumps, even when they're C.J. Stroud and their offensive coordinator gets fired. Where are they going, by the way, with their offensive coordinator now? The Texans. Is there somebody available they want to work with? Who can increase? And I'm sure Nick Caserio was involved in that. I think he's done a damn good job, by the way, Nick Caserio. Another guy that we don't really talk about as part of the whole Belichick thing, because once he left, things really went downhill. I'm curious where they're going to go with that.
Yeah, and you think DeMeco Ryans, he's going to want a Shanahan-type guy. That's exactly what Bobby Sloak was. He was from those same 49ers teams. He was their, pass game coordinator. So does he go back to Shanahan? Does DeMeco Ryans go back to that well and look for another Shanahan disciple? I think that is interesting.
Defensive head coach with blank offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
That's not a recipe for success. It's not. And are they going to find a Cliff Kingsbury? Was there someone fired that could take that job? I don't want to use Pep Hamilton because he was already there. I mean, Chip Kelly's not leaving Ohio State, right? I'm just trying to find a comp who would take that job. Working with C.J. Stroud, that's a prime position in the league. I'm actually really curious who could. It's got to be a big name. That can't be a retread, Anyways, take some calls here at 617-779-0985. Edwin is in Boston. Hey, Edwin.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I just wanted to say one of the biggest problems with the Patriots, obviously, has been our drafting. Because it's been so bad that we don't even have any players that are supposed to be the next man up. And even in coaching, we don't have young coaches that we've been developing for years to be the next man up. It's every year it's new coaches coming in. So it's this is a recipe for disaster. I just want to hear what you guys thought about that. Thanks.
There's no next man up on this team. No next man up. Steven on the Celtics. Hey, Steven.
Hi, a quick question about Joe Mazzulla. Do you think he's lost the team?
No. They I don't want to say they fear him, but they look at him as a guy that looks at things a little different. Thanks, Steven. Think he was eating dinner? Or supper?
No, I don't think Joe Mazzulla has lost the team.
I don't either.
A little early for that.
I do think that, I'll say this. Jaylen Brown's running around out there. He's injured. You can see it. I'm not making excuses.
Not breaking news, but the Celtics did release their injury report for tomorrow night, and Derek White is back on the injury report. So, yeah, there's a guy that is dealing something. Left knee soreness is what they're calling it. So, sit him down then. Give him a game off.
So, again, when I played basketball, Skaj, I told you about this. State champions, Catholic Suburban League champions, okay? We learned this thing called beef. You know what the beef is, Jake? Get the basketball in its balance, B, elbow in, eye on the basket, and follow through. Beef.
Was that your first beef, Joe?
That was my first beef. But again, B for balance. Elbow in, eye on the basket, follow through. Beef. Watching Derek White shoot, his elbow ain't in. He ain't beefing right now. Joe is in the truck. Hey, Joe.
What's up, guys? Hey, I wanted to comment on your Demarius Thomas take. He wasn't good his first 2 years, and I'm a Thomas fan in peace there, but he got good when Peyton Manning got there. In 2012 with, I think, 100 receptions or so. His first 2 years, he had 54.
Yeah.
So what does McDaniels get?
No. I mean, listen, dude. I'm glad you're calling in because if you're such a big fan, you know that he sucked the first 2 years. So then I shouldn't be credited. My point is that the Patriots never developed wide receivers really under McDaniels. I tried to give him Demarius Thomas. Now you're taking it away.
And I get it, but I think a big part of this team is something that you're missing: the Nick Caserio factor. I think him leaving the Patriots, it was a huge loss. Look what he did in Houston and bringing in talent and key players to build them up. I think you made a good point with that.
Oh, thank you. You told me I missed it and then told me I made a good point.
I think you missed one point with the Demarius Thomas.
Okay. Well, you know what?
I think you missed the point of Demarius Thomas of him developing wide receivers.
You gave that's a great nugget. Demarius Thomas' first 2 years, 22 catches, 32 catches.
Joe, who was his quarterback, though?
Who was his quarterback? Who was his quarterback? Wait, hey, real quick. If we're going to crap on Demarius Thomas, right, first 2 years, can we crap on the quarterback?
It was Kyle Orton and Tebow, I believe.
It was Orton and Tebow. And then in comes Peyton for 94 receptions the following year.
That's right.
And then he took off.
He had 95 straight seasons.
Almost as if the quarterback is significantly more important than who the offensive coordinator is.
See? This is good. We're getting collaboration now from our listeners. We got Aaron. He's in Saugus. Hi, Aaron.
Hey, how we doing?
How you doing?
So my thought here is McDaniels is a brilliant pick for your OC because when he had Brady and Brady went down, you had Castle come in, and on short notice he had Castle up ready to go until Castle unfortunately got hurt. And then you had Jacoby Brissett, who you have back now. We know what happened there. But, I mean, Jacoby's career somewhat took off, and he got us through a game or two. And
hey, Aaron.
I mean,
earlier in the show, maybe you missed it, I said that anything that Josh McDaniels has done with the Patriots, it's not allowed on the show because he had 3 different tries without Brady and Belichick. This will be his 4th, so we are throwing anything out with any other quarterbacks he's worked with ever.
Okay, but I agree, but I also think there are some receivers that were here that he did help somewhat develop, such as David Givens.
That was Charlie Weiss. But go on, go ahead.
All right, but either way, I think getting back to some of the roots where you had success is going to be the key. And I honestly think Vrabel, along with McDaniels, those two minds together.
The two head coaches?
I don't think Wolf is going to have as much say as it sounds. I think he's going to fall in line with these two. They're going to put this offense together. Vrabel can focus more on the defense, and Josh McDaniels is going to run that offense.
Two head coaches.
They're going to get back on track.
Thanks, Aaron.
It'll
work. He's going to say it'll work. So, again,
Josh, just quickly, Joe, I hate to do this to the caller, but Josh McDaniels' job for the first 3 years of David Givens' career, he was the personnel assistant, and then he was the Patriots' defensive assistant.
Oh, he was on defense.
Yeah, so I don't know if you really want to credit him with David Givens.
David Givens went to Notre Dame, was drafted in the 7th round.
Josh McDaniels credit.
And I would give that to Charlie Weiss.
You're not going to give it to defensive assistant Josh McDaniels?
Unfortunately, Skaz, in this case, I will not. There is a disconnect between the listeners and the radio host. That is the epiphany of the night.
Might have to. I know we do when the hosts aren't listening, Joe. We might have to start doing when the callers aren't listening.
You know what? That could be a great bit, right? It's like because everyone says you sound just like Felger, and I would like to tell everybody that I at least think I'm the anti-Felger. I try to be at least. So that could be funny because they do when the hosts aren't listening. Maybe we could do when the listeners aren't listening. Because there's a lot of times when Joe isn't listening.
Oh, that Giannis clip is one of my favorites.
Bert did one today, and I only caught it because they did it in today's takeaways. No, they did it I was here yesterday, actually. I was in for Felger. And so McCone was in studio, and they were doing takeaways. And one of the takeaways was they asked Bert Breer a question. And they asked Bert, and then Tim's just waiting for Bert to talk. And Bert goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was texting with somebody." It happens. You know, we take in information all day. It's hard to hear everything. All right. We got Lifshatz coming up in a bit. We got In or Out. We'll take a quick break. Here's the headlines. I'm Joe Murray.
Sports Hub headlines.
Pete Carroll is back. The new head coach of the Raiders. Good for Pete. Someone just said, Bankroll Boys, whatever happened to them? Well, we do a weekly podcast every week. True? In case you didn't know, just go to 98.5 The Sports Hub. Actually, you can go anywhere. Just search over under 98.5. Dan will be here soon. And I am ready for his EPA for McDaniels, not with the Patriots. So, again, if you're just tuning in, if you have a take on McDaniels of how good he is and how you like the hire, just remember, you can't use any quarterbacks that he worked with when Brady and Belichick were here. We just have to be fair because he's going to be here without Brady and Belichick. John's in Lynn. Hi, John.
Hi. Big fan of the show. So I just had a take about the Houston Texans offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Why not Doug Peterson? Because he won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. And I'm pretty sure he'd love to work with TJ Stroud.
I'm sure he would love to as well. I don't think they want him, though. Do you think?
Well, I don't know. He's a great quarterbacks coach.
I like your voice. Where in Lynn are you, John?
Actually live right behind Manning Bowl.
Oh, I love it over the big market basket over there now, right?
Yep, you know where the stadium condominiums are. I live in there.
There you go. You got to go, well, what's over there now to eat? I'm trying to think of what's in that area.
Tony's Pub.
Oh, Tony's Pub. How could I forget? I used to be a Rollies Tavern guy.
Yeah, they're still there.
And Fosse's Pizza?
Fosse's is there. Nicky's Pizza is closed now, though.
That's sad. Nicky's, oh, wow, that's sad. It's right off I was a long way off the highway there. Every once in a while, I'd pop in.
Yeah, they're all worth the trip.
All right, John. Doug, you have Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson.
Thanks, John. I think he kind of sucks. Plus, he's getting paid. You know, he could do nothing for a little while. All right, well, we have in or out coming up next here on the Sports Hub.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
Don't.
for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is guaranteed.
The Raiders, they were going to go to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. So it was the end of Foxborough Stadium. Do you know what I tried to do, Skaz?
You try to take some.
I was like, dude, let's steal our seats. Like, this is the last game ever at this place. Now, I do remember a time where the Patriots won a game and then they took the field goal post and then, well, you can just go Google what happened. But I really wanted to steal the seat. So that snow game compared to this snow game, that game sucked. Sorry. And you know what? If it wasn't snowing, you would have lost.
All right, Joe, I believe you put this in Slack earlier today. We got news that Scary Movie 6 will release June 12, 2026 in theaters, and the Wayans brothers are now in development with the film. Joe Murray, are we in or out on Scary Movie 6?
All right, chat, in or out on Scary Movie 6? Okay, is Nev Campbell still in it?
Can't say.
Oh, this is Scary Movie.
Yeah.
Sorry. So this is like a Wayans brothers.
Yes.
Oh. You know what though? I never saw 5. I never saw 4. I don't even know if I remember 3. Scary Movie was funny. You know what? I'm in, damn it. You know why? Because I feel like I need to watch these movies in order to understand what movie they're talking about. So I'm in.
All right, Joe. We've had golf try different things with the TGL coming indoors. Now another sport, baseball, is going to try their own thing. This from Front Office Sports, Slug Ball, a 4-on-4 baseball competition co-founded by former Phillies GM Ruben Amaro Jr., is set to launch in May. The Topgolf-style team game focused entirely on situational hitting will tour minor league stadiums this upcoming season. Joe Murray, are we in or out on Slug Ball?
I like the name of it. So teams of 6 to 8.
4-on-4.
Okay, so but there's 4-on-4, but you have 6 or 8 on a team.
Yes.
So 4 people at a time in a baseball game. I think I'm in on it. You know why? It's different. I need to learn more about the situational stuff. And it's situational, right? Do you know anything about this, Lifshatz?
No. Never heard of it.
I'm in on it. You know why? Because baseball kind of sucks. So why don't you give us something new? Like me, I don't want to play full court basketball anymore. I am now strictly a 3-on-3 half court guy. Well, can we just get 4-on-4 baseball? I mean, what do you need? You need a third base shortstop guy. You need a first baseman to get the outs, right? And then you really need 2 outfielders.
It's like
that's
that.
it.
Have you seen like the professional like wiffle ball leagues that they're doing that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's almost kind of like that,
that's
right?
all you need.
Yeah.
In.
All right, now we will head to...
Dan Lifshatz is here, everybody.
Yes, Dan in the building. Now we will head to food, where we often do during In or Out. Joe, I believe we both put this in Slack today. It was tough to avoid. But Grater's Ice Cream in Cincinnati have teamed up for one Skyline Chili Ice Cream. 2 Cincinnati icons bring you this one-of-a-kind collaboration. This limited edition ice cream features Skyline's signature spice mix and crunchy oyster crackers. Joe and Dan, are we in or out on Skyline Chili Ice Cream?
No, I'm out.
Out. So out.
I don't want any frozen form of chili. I don't want to eat something and think of chili. You know what else kind of sucks? Oyster crackers. You know what? I like those crackers. I only really like oyster crackers with chowder. Because in general, those things suck.
I like them in soup. Like,
that's what I mean. Chowder is soup.
Yeah, no, but I mean like chicken noodles. Like, I'm okay with them in that.
That's gross. That's gross. I don't want anything that tastes like chili.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't even consider it. I've never had Skyline chili. Obviously, you hear everything about it from Cincinnati. I've never had it. Have you ever had it?
I love chili. I love ice cream. I don't want them together.
No, have you ever had Skyline chili, though?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay, you like the famous one? I've never had it, so I don't know.
Oh, I love chili.
No, I do too. I've never had Skyline chili. So it's specific. It's a specific thing.
I don't know if you know about this, Dan, but sometimes if I'm going to eat something, I need to know where I'm going to eat it. Because chili is one of those things where I need to be in a safe atmosphere. Like, I don't want to eat chili at Fenway Park.
Okay, see, that would be the spot. Like, how about this? Would you eat chili at the Fenway Bowl outside in the cold?
I don't want to eat chili in a place where I don't have access to the bathroom.
Yeah, see, okay, fair enough.
Chili is one of those things, dude, that like it's gonna come out one way or another, and I just don't want it then.
I've never had that problem with chili. No, never had that problem with chili. I don't eat chili anymore, which I will. That is one thing I very much miss about my lifestyle. I miss chili. I do very much miss that. But I never had that issue. I would love chili. Would be my go-to if I was in a cold place. Pats games, I love getting chili.
Oh, yeah.
Loved it. That was the. I almost swore right there. That was the stuff.
I've almost swore twice tonight, so. I almost said the word BS.
I almost said the S word.
So that's we're batting 1,000 here.
Almost.
What else we got, Skaz?
All right, Joe, another food item you put in Slack earlier today, and that was Kraft mac and cheese popcorn. So Kraft, and I'm not sure what popcorn company it is, but look like they teamed up to make Kraft mac and cheese flavored popcorn. Are we in or out?
This is a hard in.
Oh, hard out. Easy out. No, I don't. You know what? I don't even like smart food. I don't even like the
cheddar?
fake taste of the smart. But it's not even the cheddar. It kind of has like that fake taste to it. You know what I mean? Imagine what it would be like with Kraft.
I am a hard in on this one. And by the way, I put cheese on my popcorn. Now, normally, Dan,
I've never done that.
I get a Orville Redenbacher in a microwave.
Okay.
And I'll put. If I'm real, I'll put a little bit of butter on it. But for the most part, I take it as is. Mm-hmm. If I'm at a movie theater, and let's say I'm using my Darth Vader helmet that I got, we'll get into that later.
Okay.
But I like to buy M&Ms and put them in my hot popcorn.
Okay. All right, that's reasonable.
But I have cheesed up my popcorn.
Okay,
before.
so define what type of cheese are we talking? Are we talking
Kraft
like nacho
macaroni and cheese?
Okay, yeah, no, that's a hard no for me. I can't do that.
So he's out.
I want like if I'm gonna put cheese on something, I want it to be like real cheese, like the nacho cheese. Like I was thinking you were putting like the taco cheese or something like on it, or like
no, not like a shredded cheese.
Okay, so
we're talking. You know when you're about to make mac and cheese and they give you that little bag of stuff and you put it in there with the milk and whatever? That type of cheese in my popcorn.
Okay, gotcha. So, like, would you put, like, dipping cheese for, like, chips? Would you put that type of cheese on there?
No, too sloppy.
Okay, all right.
Because the butter has got to be the sloppy.
Gotcha. Yeah, see, I'm out on all cheese on popcorn. I don't think I can do it. I'm not a big cheese guy. I'm a butter guy. Absolutely.
I'm in on this one.
But butter, I want sweet, like, butter and M&M's is perfect for me.
You know what fixes both of these things? Kettle corn. Do you like kettle corn popcorn?
Yeah, love that.
Done.
Love kettle corn.
We don't need the cheese.
You know, that's actually healthier than like the.
I have heard that
than the normal popcorn.
As Dan Lifshatz, I didn't even recognize the man.
By the way, I don't eat popcorn anymore, which I haven't had. I don't miss that. It's not something I loved, but I don't eat it anymore. But kettle corn to me, 100% healthier, and I would much rather go that way.
Lava Cake Lorraine has hit me up and says that they got to try the kettle corn.
Okay.
I just like the name Lava Cake Lorraine.
Fair enough.
All right, we will wrap up with this one tonight. Oreos always introducing new different twists on the classic Oreo. This time we have a limited edition Post Malone Oreos. These are twisted salted caramel and shortbread cream sandwiched between a chocolate and golden cookie.
Does it taste like tattoos and sadness?
So, gentlemen, are we in or out on twisted salted caramel Oreos?
Okay, this is. Take Post Malone out of it because it's going to be really hard to do that. Because that's why they're doing this.
Yeah, I guess.
I think Oreo has needed a salted caramel for a really long time, and I don't know. Did Post Malone get really high and say, "Hey, man, we need to make this"? I don't know, but I do think Oreo needs salted caramel.
His natural state is high. I don't think he got really high. I think it's just who he is.
You know what? He used to be into rap music. And now he's into country.
I like Post Malone's music. I have no problem.
I do. I like him too.
Yeah,
I just.
that.
How did he go from, that to this?
Yeah. People adapt. Beyonce had a country album, right? People like her. I don't, but people like her.
You're right.
Yeah, people adapt. People change.
The chat's in.
I'm in on that too. I'm in on that. I would agree because I think that would be an interesting chocolate salty. I mean, that actually sounds pretty dang good, Joe. I think I'd be in on that.
Can you just do the shot clock one real quick before we go?
Yes, Joe. So the NBA, Adam Silver's quest to fix the NBA, he is really fixated on something that everyone's been clamoring for. The NBA next year will be implementing new round shot clocks. Are you in or out on making the shot clocks round?
Wait, are you serious? That's the big innovation. You know what I'm in on? I'm in on getting rid of the commissioner. I think I'm in on
He's
getting
been okay, don't you think, though?
I mean, not really. What has he
Who's
done?
the best commissioner right now in sports?
I mean, I'd take Stern now over him 10 times out of 10. I said, I'm aware of what he is,
right
Joe.
now.
Who's the best commissioner
in sports? Best one right now.
Yeah,
it's Silver.
It's Silver. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, you're right. Goodell is a brutal
Now,
one.
I will say this. The clock that we have in the studio, we have a rectangular, right? That's a rectangular?
Yep.
What if they turned that into a clock, like a circle? How would you feel?
No change. I got to be honest with you. I don't care at all about that. Like, that does absolutely nothing for me whatsoever. No, I don't care.
Okay, I wanted to see if that got a rise out.
Yeah, no, nothing. I think that's just pure stupidity. But if that's the big change we're making in the NBA, we got some. Can we maybe make the I don't know, let's change some 3-point rules. I think before we.
How about a 4-pointer?
No. You kidding me? Everyone's just gonna shoot from half court. Well, might as well just make it a half court contest.
No, what if we made the 4-pointer somewhere else?
Like where? Under the rim? Like, I mean, where are you going to put it?
I'm going to work on that one.
Okay, because that's the problem is if you make it any deeper than the 3-pointer.
What if you have a
everyone...
hockey? What if a hockey assist turned into 4 points?
Like a pass?
Yes. What if all 5 guys touch the ball first and then you score?
I hate the 3-pointer as is. Like, I hate the 3-pointer. So I'm
trying here. Look, I mean, what was the one Wiggy dropped? The 4-point field goal or whatever.
The 4-point field goal. Yeah, no. I'm honestly out on all of this. Look, I just think that the 3-pointer is going crazy. The Celtics actually taking more twos now than they have like in the last couple 20, 25 games, and they're consistently losing. Maz could probably check me on that one, or Skaz. Jeez, sorry, I just called you Maz. Skaz could probably check me on that one. Because I know that obviously he's a big Celtics guy, but I'm pretty sure that was I know that Greeny put that out there a couple weeks ago that the Celtics were taking too many 3-point or too many 2-pointers, and that's why they were losing.
Well, I started the show today, Dan, with if you look at the numbers, we can do this another day. I'm just telling you the facts. This is facts. This isn't an opinion.
Okay.
The Celtics have shot less threes every single month, and they're getting worse.
I really do think there is something
Missoula
to that.
ball.
Yeah, the Missoula ball works. I hate it. I hate effing watching it, but I'd rather win than lose, so I agree. Who cares? Who cares how you win? It doesn't matter. As a fan, I should not care how I win.
I agree.
That is so.
Even if it's easy or front running,
it doesn't matter if it looks stupid.
It still counts,
I don't care.
though, right?
Win is a win. It doesn't matter.
It
how
still
you
counts, though, Dan. I just want to make sure because
yes, it still
some
counts.
people because I did hear last year that if Jared Naran made the All-Star team, they should abolish the All-Star game. But then he became the All-Star game MVP.
That's a take.
You didn't hear this?
I did not hear that. That's a take.
Well, I'll tell you during headlines.
Okay.
Dan's here, and we have people asking, can we get Lifshatz thoughts on the McDaniels hire?
Yeah.
God. We'll do that after the headlines this here on 98.5 The Sports.
From the Telfair Tire Studios, this is your home for every Patriots game.
Into the end zone, trying to keep the play alive. Falling down, he goes to the end zone. He's got it! Touchdown!
WBZ FM and HD Boston.
do want to know your opinion on the McDaniels, but first, I missed this in the old headline here, but Taylor Hall, remember him?
I do. Old friend.
He has been traded. The Hurricanes are trading for Taylor Hall, and it looks like the Hurricanes have made a few moves right now.
So it's a 3-team deal. The Hurricanes are also getting Mikko Rantanen from the Avs, which is, that is the key headline in that deal. He is. We haven't seen the details, but according to Frank Saravalli, excuse me, he is Mikko Rantanen going to the Canes, and that is a monster deal. I don't know what it's going to look like, but that is a monster deal. If Rantanen and Hall are going to Carolina, wow.
So it's a 3-teamer, which means
Chicago
is going to probably
Colorado
get picks.
and Carolina. Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not going to speculate because I have no idea. But that is, according to Frank Saravalli, Rantanen going to the Canes and Taylor Hall going to the Canes. Super. He says it's a complex 3-way deal.
He has 64 points already on the season, 25 goals, 39 assists.
Who, Rantanen?
Yeah.
He's a freaking stud. He is the type of guy you want the Bruins to go out there and trade their entire bounty worth for to get. He is a stud.
Yeah, 287 career goals.
Yeah. Monster.
Why is Colorado moving on from him?
No idea. I have no idea. I have no idea what the whole trade is, so it's kind of hard to speculate what it's going to be. But, Carolina's going to have to trade some monster stuff in this deal.
Okay, so I guess what the Colorado's been dealing with a little bit of a dilemma when it comes to his contract. He's unrestricted at the end of the year.
Yeah,
so they made the deal now.
Still one of the. That's one of the biggest names to ever move at like a deadline. Pre-deadline,
he makes $9 million a year.
Yeah, Rantanen is a monster player. He's
and you're just trading $9 million guys all of a sudden.
Hockey Twitter is going crazy right now.
He wants $14 million a year.
I'd pay him that.
What's Draisaitl get?
He's better than Pasternak. Much better than Pasternak.
But Draisaitl's probably comparison to what he does, right?
Different type.
Draisaitl's got to be like, I'm just spitballing, but he's got to be like 12, 13. I'm assuming
probably something around there. Again, that's out of my breadth of knowledge.
Here we are talking hockey, Dan.
$14 million per year, 8-year, $112 million deal, Woo! $14 million for Draisaitl. So he probably wants the Draisaitl type deal.
Wow. And here I am just saying they should trade Korpisalo now. That was my take earlier, Dan.
I have no strong opinion on that one.
He's like good right now?
Yeah, no, I know.
So just get rid of him.
Fine.
And then you go play DPH.
I think no matter who
the Bruins suck.
The Bruins will always have a decent backup goalie. I think always. That's what they do. Yeah.
Always, as we like to say on the show. All right, we got to take a quick break.
Okay.
Dan Lifshatz, thoughts on? I'll spit these out to you. 2 head coaches, Josh McDaniels' return.
Yep.
And we've abolished. We cannot take any calls for anybody that brings up a quarterback that Josh McDaniels worked with while with Brady or Belichick.
I'll be glad to take that call and basically refute it back in your face and tell you exactly what why everyone who loves the Josh McDaniels stuff when it comes to Matt Castle and Mac Jones. Has anyone actually looked at the actual advanced analytics? Anything?
What is it called? What's the stat called?
EPA success rate, DVOA. Has anyone actually taken a look into it? Greg Bedard, has anyone actually taken a look into it? I don't know. Greg, have you taken a look into it? I got into it, Greg, and I like Greg a lot. He loves Josh. He loves Josh. I don't know why.
Maybe if you're talking to him.
Okay, I didn't say it. You said it. I didn't say
we got to go to break. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5.
I love Greg. I love you, Greg. I'm sorry.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
Ohio State won the national championship.
Big W. Big W, especially for us on the podcast, Joe. Ooh.
Yeah, I got a little dicey there at the end, though.
Yeah,
8 points, 9 if you had it, depending on where it landed.
Yep. It mattered. That field goal mattered quite a bit. Quite a bit to a lot of people.
So that happened this week.
Yep.
Mike Vrabel's officially the head coach of the New England Patriots. That happened last week, I believe.
Yep.
And now they are starting to put together a staff. And, well, where I stand on it is I didn't want Vrabel because in general, it's too comfortable. And I still question the things that the Crafts do. Like, everyone's just kind of swept the Gerard Mayo stuff under the rug and all that stuff. So Vrabel's here, and I'll just accept it. I'll bow. But I did want them to do a coaching search. They were. I thought they would talk to Nick Caley. I thought they would talk to Josh McCown because of his relationship with Drake May.
Yep.
I even thought maybe Mike LaFleur would be someone that they'd look at.
So I love LaFleur. I can tell you why that didn't happen if you want. Well, we'll talk about that.
But Matt was with Mike and
it ended really badly.
Okay, I did not know that.
Really badly. So they actually hate each other.
Okay, so he would have never interviewed.
Which is by the way, that's the guy who I want. I think LaFleur is better than Ben Johnson. Go back and take a look at some of the stuff he created, the creative stuff he did with the Jets. It was unbelievable. His quarterback happened to be absolute booty hole, and so that's the reason that it was so bad. But the creativity was unbelievable from LaFleur. I think with a better quarterback, there's a lot of people who would have considered him to be Ben Johnson type-esque. I don't know if he's ever going to be a good head coach. I don't know about that, but as in terms of an offensive mind, I think he's very good.
So it was always, hey, could it be Vrabel and McDaniels? I always thought that the McDaniels thing was a Kraft hire.
Yeah.
Depending on who you ask, Dan.
I know.
Some will tell you it's.
I know Schefter is very, very adamant.
Yeah,
that it was not.
But again, he's not for nothing. But he's got a link to the Crafts.
He is. I mean, he's no different than Woj. You are owner and agent owned at that level. Owners will give you the info. He's the one who leaked out Mayo was going to get fired the day off. Right. Owners will tell you the info. Agents will tell you the info. When you're that high up, you don't need to talk to any of the underlings because you have the direct connect. So no one ever really understands how sources work, and that's a big one.
I will tell you this. I think there are people in the media who like the Josh McDaniels move because of their relationship and, like you just said, connection to the inside sources.
Okay, I think Josh McDaniels is a bad hire. I don't think that he is going to be – I don't think the team is going to crash and burn around him. That's not the same thing. But you take a look at what Detroit did, okay? Go take a look. Everyone is trying to model about Dan Campbell and what the Detroit Lions have done. Dan Campbell went out there and took a guy who didn't have a ton of success in Miami and brought him in and said, I want you to be my creative offensive genius. I'm giving you everything. Here's my play calling. Here's what I've done in the past. Emulate some of the stuff, but I want you to be your own guy. I want you to be creative. That's what they did. The Rams have guys who are creative consistently coming out of that program. Look what the Carolina Panthers did last year. Dave Canales gets brought in. They bench Bryce Young. Young comes back. He looks like a completely different guy once he understands the system and is able to watch. Look around the league. Offensive guys currently are doing very well in the NFL. Now, there are some guys, look what Tennessee just did, obviously, with Callahan. Like, that didn't work. There are certainly some guys who don't work. And I would tell you, the guys who do not work, Joe Murray, are coming from elite quarterbacks. How does Brian Daboll
or a great offensive coordinator?
Brian Daboll, right now, how's he look in New York?
He's bad. He's bad.
He sucks. Brian Daboll sucks as the head coach. He sucks. Okay, so where did he come from? Elite quarterback. Just go down the line. If you worked with an elite quarterback and you become an offense coordinator, you almost guarantee to suck afterwards. It's just the reality. Yeah. Like, where's Byron Leftwich now? After he worked with Brady, where's Byron Leftwich? Does everyone think that Byron Leftwich is a really good offense coordinator because he won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady?
He got a head coaching interview with the Patriots.
Yeah, where's he working? Does anyone know?
Well, while you're on that,
yeah.
Was there another team in the league that would have interviewed Josh McDaniels?
No.
Why were the Patriots interested in Josh McDaniels?
Because very simply put, there was a negotiation with Vrabel. Okay, and the negotiation.
But just real quick, besides the Vrabel thing,
yeah, no.
Why does nobody in the league talk to McDaniels?
Because he's an ass.
But the flip side of it too is any team could interview him because why? He's getting paid by who?
Yes, by Vegas. But I'm telling you, he's an ass.
Why do you think the Patriots want to interview him?
Because ownership has a direct link to him and knows that they can control him.
He makes no money.
Well, so yes, that's
like
a
they'll
big
pay
part
him
of it,
$2 million, and then the $7 million comes up. It gets budgeted, just like Alex Van Pelt was a top 10 offensive coordinator paid this year.
Yes,
that is like the most absurd thing I've ever heard.
Yep, which is I've heard like a million different people that is true. That's
it's been confirmed by reporters that he got $2.5 million from the Pats and was getting some money from the Browns.
Okay,
either way. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
Liam Cohen was just about to get how much from as an offensive coordinator?
A ton.
3 or 4 million, and then he's going to get way more.
But the reality is, if you take a look around the NFL right now, Joe, everyone wants the hot young coordinator, the Liam Cohen, the Ben Johnson. So then Patriots fans are stuck with Josh McDaniels. Okay? Josh McDaniels, in terms of creativity, okay, creativity EPA basically plays outside of your normal structure. In the NFL, the last 10 years, where do you think Josh McDaniels ranks? In terms of EPA in creative play situations.
So EPA stands for?
Expected points added. Okay, so basically, are you adding value to your team by calling such play?
Okay. So I'm going to just guess in the league. Is how long?
Last 5 years.
It's bad.
I think
it's going to be low. You know why?
There's 5 and 10. So I'll give you the 5.
He averaged 21 points per game with Mac Jones, and then since then he's been gone.
Okay, so the last 5 years, just in terms of includes every single offensive coordinator, okay, or head coach, play callers included. Josh McDaniels is last in terms of EPA creativity. Last, not
32.
Not 32, like 170 something. Including all head coaches and offensive coordinators. So what basically they do is they took play callers. So it's not necessarily the head coach or offensive coordinator. It's pure play caller. So some head coaches call offensive plays, right? But their OC doesn't, like, Kevin O'Connell, et cetera. So in some places, the the offensive coordinator calls plays and not the head coach. Josh McDaniels ranks dead last in offensive creativity. In the last 10 years, Josh McDaniels is in the bottom 8%. If you take away Tom Brady, he's in the bottom 2%. So basically, Josh McDaniels does not call creative plays and does not have any EPA without Tom Brady being the quarterback. He's in the bottom 2% of those guys. He is not creative. He does not give you a high ceiling. He does not give you a super low floor. What he gives you is a medium floor. He's going to give you Mac Jones. He's going to give you, hey, we can get into the playoffs and we'll lose and we'll get our pushed in round 1. That's what Josh McDaniels can give you. That's what he can do. Outside of Tom Brady, that's what he is. That's what Josh McDaniels is. He won a playoff game with Tim Tebow. Credit to him. Sure. Okay.
Wait, he didn't. He got fired week 13.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Whatever. So
no, this earlier I tried to give. So earlier, you heard me talking about the wide receivers. I tried to give Josh McDaniels credit for Demaryius and Eric Decker.
Right, I know. Well, Decker's a no.
Unfortunately,
Decker's a no. Thomas,
I was wrong.
Thomas, I give him credit for though.
He drafted him. But he was a 30 catch guy before Manning.
Yeah, but go take a look at the second half of the season. When that second season, he was actually really good.
Okay,
so I will give him.
But McDaniels was fired after 13 games.
Okay,
after that second season.
I'm still going to give him the credit for developing Tebow.
Okay.
Look, I'm trying to be
a pity credit.
I'm trying to fine. You call it a pity credit. I'm still going to give him the credit for potentially winning a game with Tebow there. He did a good job developing Tebow that year. I thought. I'm going to give him credit with that.
How about Sam Bradford?
He was the worst in the league. He was the worst offensive player caller in the league, and it was not close. Was not close.
How about Derek Carr?
He absolutely ruined Derek Carr. Devontae Adams 2 weeks ago, maybe even less,
we talked about this.
Basically said Josh McDaniels is an absolute effing idiot. The system was too complicated. It doesn't matter who runs the system unless you have Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, which is exactly what he said.
You needed an elite quarterback to run it.
He said Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers is what he said. He said, or an elite quarterback. But he's basically saying to one of the best quarterbacks of all time, you're not going to get anything out of this.
But again, this is why I'm going with it. I feel like when he was here, I blame Brady because Brady with developing receivers. I blame Brady because if someone couldn't run the right route or be in the right spot, Brady was like, get this guy out of here. So I feel like maybe we should consider that some of their struggles was because of McDaniels.
I think that a large part of their struggle was part of McDaniels, and everyone's giving him a pass for the Raiders stuff. He had prime Devontae Adams, prime Darren Waller, prime Josh Jacobs. Right there, if you have a bad offense, you're out. You're fired. You're probably never getting another good job in the league.
They drafted Mike Mayer, who was decent his rookie year.
He had, not to mention, here's the other part he had. He had Hunter Renfrow. He ruined Hunter Renfrow and basically out of the league because Josh ruined him. Go look at what Hunter Renfrow was before McDaniels got there. Renfrow was one of the best slot wide receivers in the league. They brought in Jacoby Myers his second year, didn't do anything there. They didn't even use Jacoby Myers correctly until Josh left. In fact, their offensive EPA, success rate, DVOA, adjusted completion percentage, every single statistic that people care about went up when Antonio Pierce took over that team and Josh McDaniels left. If you look over the last 2 years, the 2-year sample of him being there, okay, it's horrible. He's bottom 20 in everything. Everything. Literally, just go down the line. Everything. EPA per play, total EPA, adjusting completion, everything offensively. And by the way, I don't think Derek Carr is, crazy. Okay, basically in terms of points added to spread this year, he was about 16th, I think 15th was actually his final number based upon the final game. But I probably had him around 16, 17. He's not great. He's not a great quarterback. He's a middling quarterback. Sometimes sucks, sometimes good, depending on the day. That's who he is. He ruined him. He basically absolutely destroyed Derek Carr.
Dan, I'm with you here.
There is no defense of Josh McDaniels outside of Tom Brady. There is none.
I do want to do some championship weekend, and
me too.
Dan, I could let you go on and on because I agree with you. I don't hate it to the point to your, like you said. Do I think that they can just get some structure and be better than it looked last year?
Absolutely.
And have it look sensible.
Absolutely.
And all that.
Yeah.
Great. I'm talking about year 2 quarterbacks, all right? So think about it. The last 5 years, I just went over the draft classes. Burrow had a great year 2, right? Even Jalen Hurts became a starter.
Yep.
Tua had a really good year 2. Herbert took a next step. Since that year, 2021 draft class, Trevor Lawrence really has never taken the step. Out of all those QBs, he's been the only one that you can actually say has been good, and he hasn't been good. Of that whole class. And I know that people will say Brock Purdy the next year, but when you're a 7th round pick, it's hard for me to say year 2 jump. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Purdy actually was pretty consistent year 1 to year 2. Now he was a phenomenal EPA guy, right? Whatever, was playing really well, but it wasn't all that.
And then 03, we talked about Bryce Young. He looks like he could have a better year 3, but it wasn't a year 2 jump. It wasn't. He got benched.
I disagree with that.
No, I'm talking jump. People expect Drake May to be a Pro Bowler next year.
Yeah,
So that's what I mean.
So I think Bryce Young made a legit
Did C.J.
jump.
Stroud take
C.J. Stroud took a massive
and they just
step
fired
back.
the offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick.
Which I don't think it was his fault. I don't think Slowick was good, but I don't think it was his fault.
Do you know who I hear that well, I'll get back to that one. But did Will Levis improve this year?
No, he got worse.
So do you see what I mean? Is everyone just thinks because Josh McDaniels is here and has worked with other quarterbacks here, who with Brady and Belichick, by the way.
And by the way, has never done anything good with them. Don't give me the Mac Jones crap either, because again, don't give me that.
How many touchdowns Cam Newton throw that year? Did you look at every?
Yeah,
go. Do you know how many it is? 8.
You know what? The Pats' total EPA was offensively with Cam Newton. Anyone want to guess? Guess. Offensively, forget about defense. Total EPA.
No, I don't know.
No. Just ranking where they are. 22nd.
Okay,
22nd. With Cam Newton.
Thought Cam Newton that year actually, when it came to throwing the deep ball, he could, but he was brutal anything short.
But everyone
and what's
wants
McDaniel's game? It's a short game.
Everyone wants to give McDaniels credit for doing a good job with Cam Newton.
I don't.
22nd in the NFL is not good.
It's not good.
What?
That's bottom
what
10.
Are you okay, and again, here's the other part of the Josh McDaniels argument, right? Everyone says, oh, well, you're going to have him here forever. Here are the quarterbacks who lost an offensive coordinator after winning the Super Bowl, okay? Peyton Manning did a pretty good job. And by the way, he won a second Super Bowl with an offensive coordinator. Did Peyton Manning ever win another Super Bowl with his offensive coordinator? No. He won once, and that was it. His offensive coordinator meant nothing. Tom Brady, his offensive coordinator left twice after he won Super Bowls. How'd that work out, Joe? Pretty good. Tom Brady, best of all time. Josh Allen, he's now gone through two offensive coordinators. Does anyone care? No. How's Eric Bieniemy doing for
UCLA that got
Pat
fired?
Mahomes?
Okay,
he went to UCLA and sucked the big one. Seriously, the guy he was terrible last year. Absolutely. He went to college football.
Sam Howell, and they got sacked a million times.
Sucked. Oh yeah, and that's right. He went to Washington.
Forget that one though.
I mean, dude, The point is, if you have a good quarterback, it doesn't matter who your offense coordinator is. It does not matter.
Okay. Wow.
It never
Please, Dan,
will.
say it one more time.
It does not matter. Go down the line through NFL history. If you have an elite quarterback, your offensive coordinator does not matter. Josh McDaniels does not get credit for making Tom Brady. Tom Brady won with Byron Leftwich and Charlie Weiss. How'd those guys do after they left? They were terrible. Byron Leftwich got fired. Charlie Weiss went to Florida, floundered. Stop giving credit to the offensive coordinators when they do not deserve it. Offensive coordinators do not matter when you have an elite quarterback. They are there to elevate a guy like Sam Darnold. Look what Sam Darnold did this year. Look what Joe Flacco did last year. Those are the guys that matter. Your quarterback is going to be the quarterback. If you can get elevation out of your offense coordinator from play calling, that's what matters. Josh McDaniels has never done that in his career, and he never will. Stop talking about the Mac Jones year. 6 in points per game offensively. They had 11 short field touchdowns.
They scored 40 points or more 3 times that year, and their defense scored a lot of those.
11 short field touchdowns. You know when the last time a team had 11 short field touchdowns, Joe? It was Mac Jones in 2021.
People want to bring up Bill O'Brien to you in the chat as well.
Bill O'Brien is another one. Bill O'Brien went to Houston, and what'd he do? Nothing. He did nothing. He got fired. He ruined Deshaun Watson. They couldn't win a playoff game.
What was he?
And that was that. He went to BC, and he sucked last year. Don't give me how good BC was. BC football, the final 6 weeks, go look at how BC football was without Thomas Castellanos and the freaking Florida State team not covering the running backs the first couple weeks. BC sucked. Now, I want them to get better. I think they can get better. Bill O'Brien might be able to recruit, but as an offensive play caller, Bill O'Brien didn't do anything. He went to Penn State, and what'd they win, Joe? Nothing. They won nada. They won squad. Stop telling me about how offense coordinators make quarterbacks. They don't. Quarterbacks make offense coordinators, not the other way around. And sometimes you find a guy who's really innovative and really creative, and they can elevate a mediocre guy to be really good. And that's the guy you want. Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, etc. That's the guy you want, because then you know it doesn't matter if my quarterback leaves or goes down. I'm going to be able to replace him. Josh McDaniels has never done that. Matt Castle, defense, go take a look. Defensive scoring, EPA, short field touchdowns, etc. Brutal. It was bottom tier all around. They won how many games because of what? The defense, not because of Matt Castle. Seriously, the arguments I've been hearing for the past couple weeks are absurd, insane. They make absolutely no sense at all. Josh McDaniels sucks at his job. He always has. He's a middling offense coordinator. He's a craft hire. It is not Mike Vrabel hire. Go ask anyone who's connected to Ohio State what Mike Vrabel thinks of Josh McDaniels. He doesn't like him. Didn't like him. Okay? They might be friends. But there's a huge difference between a personal connection and a business and a professional connection. Huge difference. Go ask anyone associated with the Ohio State program. Because after Michigan, Ryan Day almost got fired. They were considering it. And the boosters had 2 people on that list. Okay? Very short list. Mike Vrabel was one of them. They wanted Vrabel to come with an offense coordinator. They wanted the other guy to come with a defense coordinator. They gave 3 suggestions of Vrabel for offense coordinators. One of them was Josh McDaniels. He told them to go F themselves. That's exactly what happened. Ask anyone around that program. That's what happened. He told them absolutely effing not. Go F yourself. And that was the end of Mike Vrabel potentially going to Ohio State. And that's why he never interviewed there, and nothing ever happened with Ryan Day, because Mike Vrabel basically told them, go after yourself. The other guy is a current college head coach and couldn't do anything until after the season was over. And then Ryan Day won. That's what happened there.
Well, guess what I heard? You'll really like this one, because
okay.
I have to go to break. I heard that Josh McDaniels' brother may be coming in and being an assistant.
Probably. Wouldn't doubt it. But here's what happened, Joe. They hired Vrabel. He got personnel control. Anyone who doesn't understand this, Vrabel has final say on the roster.
But didn't have it on the coaching staff.
Right. He has final say on the roster.
Have you noticed that McDaniels barely has any input on who the offensive assistants are?
Okay, so I'm just going to say this. Vrabel has final say on the roster. He had to give up negotiations somewhere. You don't get to come in and own the castle without doing anything. You need to do some other stuff. So what happened? The ownership group got the offensive guy that they wanted. And
they don't have to pay.
They don't have to pay him, and they get all the information they want out of him. Mm-hmm. You don't think Kraft and McDaniels are really close after the whole Indianapolis thing? Remember he was supposed to go to Indianapolis
Hang
the
on,
year
Dan.
before.
Stan, stay tall.
Okay.
This is good. Everyone likes Dan right now.
No one likes Dan.
He's
That's the
saying
part.
everything that I agree with. We have to hit the headline, and then we'll break. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
It's okay, Dan. We just have to get the sponsor read in. Headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandoilChange.com. You can save 15% off your next drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change.
not even about the McDaniels hire itself. It's the, oh, what a great hire. How come you can't see what he did with Matt Castle and Mac Jones and what was the other one that everyone like gives him credit for? Kyle Orton. Like, okay, guys.
Kyle Orton, Tim Tebow, Derek Carr, Aiden O'Connell.
He hadn't. Just take a look at what he did without Brady. That's all you need to do. Just take Tom Brady out of it.
I want to take Belichick out of it too because, dude,
I'm not going to do that.
No, the only reason why is that it's easy for him to be the offensive coordinator of a team when Bill Belichick's the one who takes the heat and is the one that is responsible for everything. Now that Belichick's gone, yeah, Vrabel's going to be the one who. But at the same time, if the offense doesn't do something well, I'm interested to see what Vrabel says about the offense.
I am too, and I'll tell you right now, if the offense does not do well next year, who do you think gets the blame? I'm willing to wager, I'll wager pretty heavily that if the offense sucks next year, I don't think Mike Vrabel is getting blown out of town. It's going to be Josh McDaniels. I think it's a win. It's a win-win for Mike Vrabel, in my opinion. He gets personnel control. He doesn't get the control of the offense. But if the offense sucks, guess who gets blown out of town? It's not him. It's Josh McDaniels. If the offense is good, he gets to now take credit because ownership is telling Adam Schefter, oh, it was a Mike Vrabel hire, even though everyone who has any sort of connection and any is not sort of brain dead knows that this was a ownership hire because he was a cheap hire and it was a guy that they were super well connected to. That's it. It's really that simple. If you honestly think that this was not an ownership hire, then either A, you're not paying close enough attention to the crafts, or B, you don't know the league well enough to understand how it works. It's really that simple, okay? Or C, you're in someone's pocket and you probably shouldn't be elaborating on Josh McDaniels if you're too close to the situation. That's the reality.
Someone says, look what Josh McDaniels did with Brian Hoyer. And I would tell you that Brian Hoyer played for a lot of different coaches. And say what you want about him. He was a starter in the league and a solid backup. But to me, I don't think McDaniels had anything to do with Hoyer.
Okay, let's just take Brian Hoyer. What did Brian Hoyer do with Josh McDaniels? Nothing.
How
many playoffs games did he win with Josh McDaniels? None. What? Stop talking about guys who don't win. The goal is not to be the freaking Atlanta Falcons. You do not want to be one and done Kirk or one and done. That's not what you want to be. You want to be the next Kansas City Chiefs. Isn't that the goal? Isn't everyone excited around here about Josh Allen, Drake May being Josh Allen? Don't you want to be the guy in the AFC Championship game every year, not the team that may make the playoffs and go one and done? Isn't that the goal? Or did I suddenly forget about what football and winning and being a Patriot was about? Do your job, do that. Did we not just went through 20 years of a dynasty and all of a sudden that's out the window? Now the goal is to be one and done in the playoffs? That's not my goal. If that's your goal, Josh McDaniels is a phenomenal hire, 10 out of 10, grand slam, you hit a home run. If your goal is to win, it's not a good hire. He's not going to elevate your level when it matters most. He's going to do a decent job keeping your floor high so you're not going to get, be-smacked in a bunch of these games. Okay? That's what he did with Mac Jones. How about the final 8 games? Does anyone remember the final 8 games of 2021? They lost to the Colts. They lost all these important games.
The win game.
Okay.
They won that one, and then that was it.
They went into the playoffs. Was that game competitive?
It was not.
No. And a part of it was defense. A good part of it was defense.
No, they couldn't move
They couldn't move the ball offensively either. They got a whole bunch of pity points. That was it. Guys, you don't want to be the 2021 Patriots. That's not the goal. The goal is to be the last 5 years of the Kansas City Chiefs. So what you really need is a guy who's going to be creative and help play calling. Andy Reid. You need Andy Reid. You don't need Eric Bieniemy. You need Andy Reid. Josh McDaniels, Eric Bieniemy. Okay? That's who he is. He's a guy who's there. He doesn't really do anything for you. He's just elevating, he's just basically helping the quarterback along. That's all he's doing.
All right, real quick. Do you believe that there's 2 coaches? Like, meaning one's the head coach, one's going to run the defense, one's going to run the offense?
Yes, 100%.
And how often does that work? Now, granted, you can look at the Chiefs and say Steve Spagnuolo, but Andy Reid's the coach of the team.
Yeah,
and Patrick Mahomes.
But again, listen to Reid after he talks about everything, his playoff process for the past couple of years, whenever they've been in the Super Bowl. They always ask, what is your role on defense? And Reid says, I am game planning with Spags the entire time because I can give him an offensive perspective to his defensive perspective.
So that's collaboration.
It's a collaboration. 100%.
Okay.
That is not what's going to happen.
Do you think McDaniels can improve the offensive line.
Yes, I do. I think that he can improve the offensive line. I actually think the one thing I think he did very well in 2021 was I think he did a really good job with the offensive line.
Now you saw who the line was.
Yes.
Because it was pretty good.
It was good, but he
Shaq
did
Mason,
he
David
did it.
Andrews.
Look, you also have to be like reasonable about where he did things well. McDaniels did a really good job with the offensive line. They ran the ball very well. I will give him credit. I think that he can. They need to bring in more talent. That's going to be very difficult in this draft. This draft sucks for tackles. Sorry if you don't want to listen to that. That's the reality. That's why I wanted Joe Hall last year. By the way, I think I was wrong. Also holding my hand up. I think I was wrong. I think
they could have used.
I think Drake May is going to be good. I think
passed on May. That's all.
I think I was wrong. Okay, but again, I'm going to own what I was wrong. I think I was wrong. I think Drake May is going to be way better than I thought. That being said, the offensive line talent in the draft this year is absolutely terrible. Go take. If you want Banks, go take a look at the game against Ohio State. You don't want that kid. Okay, it's not a kid you want. Did not come up big in prime time. Kind of got his butt whooped in that game. So I don't really want that kid, and I do not like the kid from LSU. Campbell, no, hard no. Okay,
small arms.
I think Simmons is better than both of them, and I'm not sure.
I like the kid from Ohio State who came
Simmons,
around. A
yeah.
little
So
bit.
again, I don't love him.
And there's
either.
a big dude from Minnesota.
Yeah, there's a bunch of dudes. None of them. I don't think any of them are.
Yeah, none of them are really top 20
one of them might be really good, but I think you're taking a complete shot in the dark there. All right, I think you're probably going to end up going with one of Abdul Carter or Graham or Ted McMillan or Travis.
Well, Belichick would have taken Joe Alt. He wouldn't have taken Drake May. He did want to take Jaden Daniels.
Correct.
We should talk about him.
Correct. He did want to take Jaden Daniels.
An opportunity to win 4 straight road games, Dan.
Yep. And
4 straight.
Be the first rookie in the modern era. Which, by the way, we didn't talk about Josh McDaniels not either in that situation.
Who was the non-modern era rookie to go?
At 1937, I think it was the Washington Redskins.
How do you
rookie.
know that?
Because I've done research into it.
Oh, no, I just I know I credit you, Dan, for doing the research because I never did.
Yeah. I think it was 1937. I'll double check. I think they just moved from
rookie
Boston.
in the Super Bowl.
I'm pretty sure it was it wasn't the Super Bowl, that it was NFL championship.
Oh,
Sammy
that's right,
Baugh
yeah.
was, Sammy Baugh, 6th overall pick, won the NFL
1937?
1937 Washington Redskins.
How did Dan remember that?
Because despite the fact that everyone thinks I'm an absolute lunatic and know nothing, I actually care about gambling, and I like to win money. I like to win money, so I have a lot
for knowing Sammy Ball's name.
I just looked that up. I didn't remember his name. But historical data in the NFL actually matters. It does. It really does. Historical data in the NFL. There's not a lot of sports that you can say that because they change so much, but historical data in the NFL does matter.
All right, championship weekend's upon us. We will talk about it. This hour of the Sports Husband brought to you by Valve Linux and Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com. You can save 15% off your next drive through oil change. Valve Linux and Oil Change now, but in Franklin, Bill Ricca, and in Peabody. And we'll get you your headlines after this.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Every Thursday night, head to the Sylvan Street Grill and Pizza.
absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps or at 985sportshub.com.
Back here, 98.5 Sports Hub.
It's championship weekend. Dan will be on tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, with Kendra Middleton. I'm sure you guys got a ton of stuff.
I'm sure she's happy that the Jags hired Liam Cohen.
Good for them.
Because it could have been a hell of a lot worse if they didn't fire Trent Baalke.
What's the deal? What did Trent Baalke have over the Cons? Like, why?
I don't know.
No, but why didn't you just fire him?
I don't know. He sucks. I don't understand what the whole big thing about Baalke was. I will say he got them the wide.
You know who I do like? The Raiders guy that was with McDaniels originally.
He's now going to Jacksonville. He
already took it. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, they're a package deal. So
that's a good deal.
Because
he drafted Brock Bowers and some other guys this year.
I thought
that was a good draft.
Yep.
All right.
Interesting deal.
All right, Dan. Well, let's start it off this weekend. Championship weekend. Let's go with the first game of the day, and while everyone's talking about it, Washington Eagles. Depending on where you see the line, I'm just going to give it a hard 6 for now.
It's 6 everywhere, pretty much.
47.5.
Yep.
Washington will have to win 4 straight road games, so it would be 3 playoff road games.
Yep.
I think this is a really bad spot for the Eagles, Dan.
Really?
Yeah. I think that the Jalen Hurts knee thing, I don't think he was right, by the way, after the game. He looked a little woozy to me. I feel like listen, all the pressure's on Nick Sirianni. Who did I tell you all the pressure was on last week? Lamar Jackson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Choked. He ended up bringing him back, and David Andrews, not David Andrews, the tight end Andrews.
Yeah, Mark Andrews.
Oh, God. That one hurts still,
Yep.
thinking about it right now. I just feel like there's a lot of pressure on McDermott and a lot of pressure on Sirianni. And Washington, dude, is playing with house money right now. Can they run the football? I don't know.
Yes, they can.
Is maybe there any injuries that the Eagles are going to face on their defense where McLaurin can expose? Because he's turned into an elite receiver.
Agreed.
And maybe he needed the quarterback, right? As you said, Dan, maybe the teams need the quarterback. Although I've had the Eagles, I had the Rams to go to the Super Bowl, and I had the Eagles to go to the NFC Championship game. I right now lean underdogs both ways.
Really?
6 Washington.
I disagree. I love Philly. I think they're going to kill them. I don't think this is going to be a competitive game. That's not fair to say. I don't think it's going to be a very competitive game. Washington lost Sam Cosmi last week. He's their best offensive lineman. Without a doubt, he's their best offensive lineman. Tore an ACL, so he's done. Their run game after Cosmi left was not nearly as effective as when he was in there. Again, they had a pretty decent lead by then. Deron Payne, questionable, did not practice again today. It does not sound like he's going to play. If he plays, he's going to have a wrap on the hand, and I do not think he'll be effective in that situation. He's played that way before. I really like Jane Daniels. You say it's a bad spot for Philly. I think this is the worst spot maybe of all season for Washington. You're on the road again. You're coming off basically a game that no one believed that you could win.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you right off the bat, by the way, he's trying to do something that's never been done.
Yeah.
So, clearly, it's against him.
Historically in the NFL, it's never been done. Again, the last time I think a rookie quarterback made it was, was Roethlisberger the last one? I can't remember who it was in the championship game. I know Roethlisberger made it as a rookie against the Patriots and lost. I do know that. And he was really good in that. He was really, really good in that run. But nonetheless.
No, Daniels would be the first one to make it Roethlisberger's second year.
No, it was Roethlisberger's first year. It was rookie year.
Oh, what is wrong? Daniels would be the first rookie quarterback to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yes, to make it to the Super Bowl. I'm talking about the championship game. He's the first. Since Roethlisberger, he's the first. I think there may have been one other guy. I'm blanking on who it was, but there may have been one other rookie.
And Dan Marino was the youngest, but it was not. It was his second.
But Roethlisberger lost his rookie year in the conference championship to the Patriots, I believe, in that game. But regardless, Daniels to me is in a really tough spot now. Okay, you're without your best offensive lineman, in my opinion. They had an injury at running back last week, too. Robinson banged up his knees, fine, but not nearly close to 100%. Now you get to face in my opinion, you go from maybe one of the worst defenses in the NFL, in my personal opinion. I did not think much of the Detroit Lions defense. That's why I kept telling you, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think they can win last week. I said that over and over. We talked about it. I said, I think the Washington Commanders are going to win this game. I think they're going to beat the Lions. We've talked about that. They're now facing a defensive football team. A football team that beats you slogging, beats you up front with the defensive line, has a very good secondary. The loss in the Kobe Dean is concerning, but I thought that Zach Baum was amazing last week. I thought he was the best player on the field, in my opinion. The other linebackers in that room were significantly valuable. Nolan Smith was fantastic in that game. Oren Burks even stepped up and played pretty well in that game. Quinion Mitchell is going to play in this game, so that's not a major issue there. They have, in my opinion, maybe the best secondary in football. It's right there, Joe. I just don't know where Washington has an edge. Coaching, probably.
Maybe.
No, probably. I think Sirianni's pretty bad. I don't think he's great.
Well, the way they screwed up both halves last week.
Agreed. Yep.
Horrible.
Agreed. But offensively, I do not think this is not a, hey, let's score 1 million points and beat the other team that way and hope that, the quarterback on the other side with a high turnover worthy player rate makes a mistake and, the coach is a buffoon. This is a very different type of game plan. You're going to have to beat the Eagles in a very different type of way. And I just don't know if they have the horses to do it.
Can they stop Saquon Barkley?
I don't think so. They don't have the elite defensive line play.
Sure is how they were.
That they do that, especially without Payne. I think Payne's a big part of that. Jonathan Allen's really good. I really like Dorrance Armstrong. But I think without Payne being near 100%, you're really relying on Bobby Wagner. I don't know if they can do that. I think Saquon will be able to run all over them, man. I don't think that on the offensive line that they'll be able to stop the Eagles' defensive line. I think on both lines of scrimmages, they're going to lose. It kind of reminds me, Joe, of the Ohio State-Notre Dame game, where I think that if you dominate the offensive line, you win the game. And I don't think Washington can do that. I don't think Jane Daniels is going to have all the time in the world to throw down the field. And I think the secondary coverage is going to be worlds better. I mean, guys were open all over last week. Philly's not going to allow that. I think their best option is to go to Zach Ertz consistently, and I don't know if they can do that. Not to mention, Brandon Coleman, their left tackle, who's a rookie, got absolutely destroyed in both matchups against the Eagles this year. Something that no one's really talking about. He got ruined in both those matchups, and now has to do that again. I just think that this is a terrible matchup for Washington. I love Jane Daniels. He's had a phenomenal run, but I think Philly is going to absolutely smack them. I think it's going to smack them. I don't think this is going to be competitive.
Well, I'll give you no in this spot, no team. There's been 7 times where a team's played 4 road games in a row. 0-7 outright.
Yep.
But they have 1-5-1 against the spread.
Okay, so one team is covered.
Now, do you want to know the flip side of it?
Sure.
This will be the 4th straight home game for the Eagles. Teams in this spot, undefeated.
Yeah, I do not see Washington finding a way to win. Again, they were not a great road team this year. They were just 5-3 on the road, Joe. They were not like some phenomenal force, whatever. They're 5-3 on the road this year.
Just to give you those teams, 2021 Chiefs, 2021 Rams, who got to play at home in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And it hasn't happened since Washington in 1982.
There you go. Oh, yeah, I do not like Washington whatsoever in the spot. I think it is arguably, as a spot bet, the worst spot a team has been in all season long.
As far as advising the public,
yeah,
this is a horrible spot. I'm taking Washington.
Okay,
I want to make that clear that historically,
are you PPing Washington?
Give it to me 6. I'm doing it.
All right, Skaz, you ringing the bell or
let's ring that bell, Skaz. Here's why.
I can do it if you want, Skaz.
It's Nick Sirianni, and that's it.
Okay.
You talk about quarterbacks. Can they be better than the coach? I'm going to bet against Jalen Hurts doing that.
I'm going to take the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia.
I'm taking the +6.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I think Washington's going to win.
Okay.
But I might.
I do not think they have. I do not think this game is going to be that competitive. I love Vic Fangio. I think he's done a phenomenal job this year.
Great defensive coordinator.
I will take the Eagles -6.
Two head coaches. Two head coaches there.
Two head coaches. Give me the Eagles -6. I will go head to head against Joe in this one. I'll take the Eagles.
Against each other.
I'll take the Eagles. There you go. I think it's just too tough of a spot for Washington. I just think that this one probably is like a 2-score game, and maybe they kick a field goal at the end or whatever. Maybe it lands 11, that type of game again, kind of like the national champion. I really think Philadelphia is just too talented offensively, defensively. A.J. Brown hasn't done a damn thing, and they're still in the NFC Championship game. He has a phenomenal matchup this week. If you put him up against Marshawn Lattimore, that is a disaster waiting to happen. If you put him up against Mike Sanders-Drill, Devonta Smith is going to absolutely eat Mike Lattimore. Like, both those guys own that matchup. I don't think it's a good spot for either of them.
Bills Chiefs.
Okay.
I have Chiefs fatigue, but I don't want the Bills to win. Okay. So that's just fan perspective. What's the line? I've seen 1.5.
1.5 is the consensus number right now.
Okay. I feel like everybody's on the Bills.
They are. Everyone is.
I feel like
Buffalo.
everybody's on the Bills.
Bills here, right? That's what everyone's saying. Bills.
And by the way, a lot of people complain about the officials. Only play I want to complain about is the push-off by Keon Coleman that they threw on the Ravens.
That was not offensive pass interference.
That was not.
That was not.
If anything,
it was absolutely offensive.
If anything, it was offensive. But honestly, if it was if they just called nothing, I would have been fine.
I agree. It should have been nothing,
and that would have been third down, and they would have had to punt.
Yep.
And the Ravens were rolling.
I agree.
I listen. This is what I mean by refs.
Yep.
They're not. They don't dictate winners and losers, but they do impact the
momentum.
Exactly.
They impact momentum.
That was an impact of momentum.
Terrible call. Still not the reason the Ravens lost. Terrible call. Absolutely terrible. The Ravens lost because Lamar Jackson turned it over twice. Mark Andrews turned it over once and then dropped a 2-point conversion. You just can't do that and beat the Bills.
Let me ask you this. Who's got the better defense? It's Chiefs.
Kansas City. It's not very close. Yeah, Kansas City's the better defense. They have the better defensive coordinator for sure and better defensive strategy just in terms of game plan.
The Chiefs are elite in the second half.
Defensively.
Now, remember earlier this year,
defensively,
I said that Washington was an awful fourth quarter team. And since that day, they have been...
In Kansas City?
Sorry, when I said Washington... No, Washington has been crushing fourth quarters now.
Gotcha.
After I said that they sucked week in and week out.
Yep.
I'm now telling you the Chiefs have been elite in second halves week after week after week after week.
Which is funny because early on in the year they were terrible.
They were terrible. So, I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm taking the Chiefs.
Yep.
Bring it.
You can double rank.
And listen,
you can double rank. Give me Kansas City.
Well, okay, so one reason why I am going with the Chiefs is because everybody's on the Bills. And listen, I'm not. If you really want a real analysis from me, this is the chance for Buffalo to run the ball and control the clock and really try to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. But I still think that if you give Mahomes time, I still think that their special teams is solid. I think they have a great defense. Taylor Rapp, I don't know if it's going to make an impact or not.
It's a very impactful loss. It is. Don't kid yourself. It's a big loss for them.
I just think that it's Cook, Mahomes, and I dare one of those wide receivers to have a big game. I dare them to. So that's why I'm fading them.
Yeah, so it's a couple things for me. One, massive, and I mean massive coaching edge. Massive. Okay, I do not think much of Buffalo's head coach. I think we've established that on the Saturday show, Joe. We had a nice I had a nice rant about how I feel
Exchange?
Yes, about how I feel about the Buffalo head coach. I do not think.
Oh yeah, years ago. It's probably in the system.
Somewhere. I do not think he's a very good head coach.
Sean McDermott. Bleeping sucks.
Yes, I believe that's correct. Taylor Rapp's a big loss, so I think there's a huge coaching advantage of both head coach and defense coordinator. Okay, I think those two spots are massive in my opinion. I think the offensive line for Buffalo got banged up again last week. I really do not like that situational spot for them with her offensive line facing a borderline elite defensive line. I think that Buffalo is going to have an extremely difficult time getting open downfield, and what Kansas City has done has really taken away your best offensive player and make you beat them other ways. I don't know that Buffalo is really going to be able to do that. They have not did not even do a good job last week of really getting open. In certain situations, the Keon Coleman thing, again, we just kind of talked about was kind of BS. So, yeah, I don't think that they have a very good game plan for a way to beat Kansas City. If you run the football, I think Kansas City wins the defensive line battle there. So I think that's a terrible spot for them. Downfield, I don't think Josh Allen was very effective last week, and I think they're going to be even less effective against a blitzing team who knows them very well, not to mention a major coaching edge there. Offensively, I don't think they match up super well against Kansas City, just from an offensive standpoint. The way that how healthy Kansas City is from an offensive standpoint, I don't think they match up well there either. And I also don't think they've done a good job against mobile quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson, last week, perfect example. I don't think they've done a good job against mobile quarterbacks. Mahomes, another mobile quarterback. There's a lot of factors that kind of come into this one. And here's the other part. They have owned this matchup. Owned it. They have owned this matchup. And I'm sorry, it's very rare for a team to eventually get over the hump. It happens sometimes, but until that happens, I won't believe it. So I'm going to continue to take Kansas City minus. I'll take Kansas City money line minus 1.5. Whatever.
See Portnoy's big bet?
I did. Yeah,
Bills.
I did. Yeah. I like Kansas City. I like Kansas City. I like Philly. I think it's Kansas City, Philly.
I think they have the best defense.
And by the way, if it's Kansas City, Philly, I will not be back in Kansas City in the Super Bowl. In fact, if Philly makes the Super Bowl, I won't be back at either AFC team. I think Philly wins the Super Bowl. If Washington makes the Super Bowl, I don't know who I'd back them against Buffalo. I think Buffalo and them are like a fantastic, perfect, 80-point game match. If it's Kansas City, I think Washington wins. So
we both on the Chiefs.
Yes.
And we're split
head-to-head in NFC.
Okay, and the matchup would be Chiefs, Eagles, in your opinion?
Yes. Chiefs,
I
Chiefs.
just like
I'll go
Washington
with
to win, cover.
Okay. I'll say this just as an addition. If you like MVP betting, I would take it now for Super Bowl MVP. If you like Philly,
Saquon Barkley.
it's at a plus 170. There's two bets for Philly. Really easy. Saquon Barkley, 5-1. Jalen Hurts, 530.
What about A.J. Brown?
Nope.
Wide receivers have had some tricky.
Very, very rare. Very, very rare that you're gonna win that one. And by the way, you would still have to beat your elite running back and your quarterback in that situation.
And the other quarterback.
It just seems it's very unlikely there. The odds don't pan it out. No, right now, if you're looking for odds value, okay, easy. If you like Philly, Barkley and Hurts, you should make those bets right now. Both above 5-1 in certain places. You can get that. If you like Washington, you should be taking Jane Daniels, obviously. If you like the other side, it should be either of the quarterbacks, and that's it. So if you like either the quarterback, if you like either of those teams to win the Super Bowl, take the quarterback for MVP. You'll get a better number than you will for the team to win the Super Bowl MVP. And if you can't, then you're probably not shopping hard enough. But again, if you like Philly, my best guess or my best suggestion for people, because I like Philly from this point on, I think they're the best of the four remaining. I would play both Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts to win MVP above 5-1. I think you can get 550 on Barkley. I got that the last couple days. I got 530 on Hurts right now. Chris is out there, so I know that's where you can bet them there too. So those would be my two bets if you like Philly to win the Super Bowl. So,
all right.
And by the way, I have Philly 7-1 to win the NFC from the beginning of the year. That's what he picked. I am not going to count that as a podcast play. Technically gave it out. A lot of people couldn't get the number on it, so I'm just not going to count it.
Stupid.
No, not going to count it. Nothing but if not fair to the people least gambling. You can hate me for my Josh McDaniels things. More than fair. But I'm I'm reasonable.
Dan's being reasonable, but he did say I had the Eagles going to the championship game, and I had the Rams going to the Super Bowl.
I had Baltimore. I had Baltimore,
and
Philly,
I had Baltimore,
and you had Baltimore Rams. Yeah.
All right, Dan. You're on tomorrow morning.
I am. I will be bright and early tomorrow morning.
Anything else going on? You guys doing college hoops now and everything like that?
We haven't dug a ton into that yet. I've been giving out a bunch of college hoops plays on Twitter on the over.
I'll be listening tomorrow morning. I'm up early. I'm doing a card show in the morning.
I think we're going to talk about the Liam Cohen hire. I'm sure Kendra has.
By the way, I want know you should ask her. Do you think he did anything wrong? Because I don't.
Yeah, he's a scumbag.
And to Skaz's you do. But to Skaz's point, Bobby Slowick gave up a head coaching position to stay with Houston.
Yeah, no, I know.
And now he got fired.
But just tell them. Say, hey guys, I'm going to end up taking this interview. That's all. I know. I'm not asking to say. Just say, hey guys, I know I really want to stay, but I gotta take this interview. That's all. You don't have to be a scumbag about it and lie. Did you guys see what he said?
Yeah, his baby or whatever.
His kid was in the. I mean, come on, man. Like, as a
I'm out on that one.
As a parent, like that is the lowest of the low.
That was my take.
That's the lowest of the low.
My disclaimer is I'm out on anyone who uses their kid.
Lowest of the low. Like
I'm Team Liam Cohen in this one. These billion-dollar organizations, the Bucks would do the exact same thing to him. They do it to hundreds, if not thousands, of players every couple of years.
Okay,
so
wait, here's my question.
I'm Team go get the promotion, screw the other team.
Sure, Skaz. Let me ask you this: is Bobby Slowick getting paid by Houston?
I would imagine, yes.
And there's your answer. He's still getting paid. He doesn't have to do the work. He's getting paid. So even if he got screwed, and by the way, I do agree Slowick got screwed there. I don't think it was his fault this year. Like,
yeah,
so
what? Just tell
the team, be a human being. Just say, hey guys, I know we talked about it. I changed my mind. I gotta take this interview. That's all. You don't have to. And if they hate you for that, then F them. That sucks. But you know what? You got to take the interview. But at least tell them, don't use your kid as the excuse. That's brutal. Are you kidding me? That's brutal. If you had kids, Skaz, and you're like, you know what, Joe, I can't be your producer anymore. I got kids, and that had nothing to do with the reason. Joe would be pissed at a full reason.
I think if Joe knew I was getting paid $60 million, he'd be okay with it.
Be okay with
sure,
yeah.
but if you lied, about it. If you lied your way into it, I don't think anyone would feel bad for you if something bad happens.
These organizations operate almost strictly in bad faith. I'm not going to blame an offensive coordinator for doing the same.
That's, again, more than fair, but don't use your kid and lie about it. Just be honest. Just be honest.
I agree.
I agree as well. I'm just I don't care about Liam Cohen screwing over the Bucks.
Okay, I don't agree. I don't care either. Right. By the way. I don't care either. I'm just saying, don't be scummy while you do it. Just have a little sense there.
So
That's
how
all.
many times did Dan say effing and almost say it?
I was never worried about.
You were never worried?
No, never.
No. Dan, I've now shared. You probably remember one morning.
Yes,
we were going over all the draft picks. And I blame Bill Burr for this because he said that it's such a Boston thing.
Yep.
I was with Dan and I was with Skaz and Bleepin, and I did it on the air and I freaked out.
Do you remember what happened the next week? Sean McDermott ran a sworn.
Well, yeah.
I did it too.
Said, yes. Back-to-back weeks you swore.
I have only sworn.
And it was at 7 in the morning and it
once
didn't go
on the air. Only swore once on the air my entire radio career. That was it. The week after Joe did it, and we both we got in trouble
Sean
for that.
McDermott did stink after that.
He does. As John, yes, he sucks. I'm sick. I think he kind of sucks.
Well, who's the most pressure on then? I think it's Sirianni. Because it's not Reed, and it's definitely not Quinn.
I think that's fair. I think the most pressure.
That's why I'm fading them, and I know that's a crappy way to as a real bettor. Don't bet on that.
Yeah,
but I'm just doing it as for fans' sake and watching.
For sure, but let me ask you this from this standpoint: if the Eagles lose, are you firing Sirianni?
No,
of course not. You're not even considering. He made you the NFC Championship game. He had a hell of a year.
He's been to 2 NFC Championships.
Right, yeah, and he had a hell of a year this year. You're not firing him. So I don't think he's on the hot seat. That's kind of why even though technically, yes, you're right, I think he has the most pressure, I ultimately don't think any of these guys are under a lot of pressure. In fact, you can make an argument that McDermott is, because if they don't do it, and everyone and their mother says, Bill's year. If they lose this year, what happens? Is it ever going to be Bill's year?
All right, well, our headline was brought to you by Premier Basement Waterproofing.
Joe, headlines. We haven't even gotten to the first break yet.
Buying a home or finishing your basement. Do what Beetle did. Get in on the waterproof first so you never worry again. Call 844-LIVE-DRY or premierbasement.net. It's game over for water. He's Dan Lifshatz. He'll be here tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with Kendra Middleton. I'm Joe Murray, and that was your headlines.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. We're all caught up, everybody. Thanks, Dan Lifshatz. But you know what, though? There was this thing where Lifshatz was yelling and getting so emotional where I was like, I'm not needed tonight. But just imagine him and I at 7 a.m. for 3 years straight. That was, the chat loved it. So, Jake Seymour is here, everybody. For those who don't know Jake, he was an intern with Zoe and Beetle, right?
Yep.
Went to Arizona State?
Yes, sir.
And now you are back home working for 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Yeah, it's been great. First month started back here, part-time board operator, and it's been a blast to be back here working with you, Zoe and Beetle, Felger and Maz, Morning Show, Touch It Hardy, everyone else. It's been fun so far.
So what people don't know about Jake is he is this behind-the-scenes man. This is how I started in radio. I was an intern. I did everything that they asked me to do. I never went home. You didn't go home either. And again, I started in 2007, so life was very different then. We didn't have video and stuff like that.
Different platform.
Wicked different. But I never left. I was in their face all the time to the point where they had to hire me. So they hired you. But we're behind. What I mean by behind the times is now we're digital content creators. We work on the radio, but we're pumping out content, whether it's articles or videos and social media. Jake's the guy who does that. And so now Jake does that. He's learning how to run the board. He's answering calls. What else can you do? And you're a reporter, right?
Yeah, so I wrote for Sunable Source, 24/7 sports affiliate out in Arizona, and covered ASU for the last 3 years. Was on this ASU football kind of incredible run they just had. No one expected that. And it was phenomenal. Great time to be there. And then going back home, working at 98.5 where I was at the summer, and grew up listening to the station. So honestly, it's been a good first month. I love it here.
So this is what I would recommend to you is, and I tell people this all the time. Skaz is learning the different way. He was street team producer. Now he's learning the video. So he's learning it. You though were intern all the video. Now you're learning the board. What I try to tell everybody is once you can learn those things, then working on the air is the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, you understand everything works. It's all a process, right?
Exactly. So I'm going to introduce you to a man. He's a caller, Jake. His name is JP. He's from North Providence. I'm not sure if you ever know who JP from NP is, but he's joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub right now. Hello, JP.
Joe, never mind Tony Robbins. I'm going to play Dan on a loop. I'm fired up. I don't even know why. It's fantastic, Dan. Oh, Dan always fires you up. It's good to hear you. Be listening tomorrow morning. So, Joe, in Godfather 1, where the Godfather goes to the Undertaker, he says, with all your powers and skills,
yep.
Joe, I need your powers and skills. Here's what happened. So I went to Leroy last week. He's been giving me my dating advice because you can't get through to 96.9 if you tried. I said, Leroy, she suggested a diamond necklace for Valentine's. I can't afford it. Do I get it and don't tell her, or do I tell her the truth? Leroy says, give her the truth. Well, I gave her the truth. Says, look, I can't afford it right now. Maybe for your birthday. She says, that's fine, but I'd love to go to Polana's for dinner for Valentine's.
Oh,
Joe,
Polana.
you can't get a table at Polana's. I need you, Joe. Next Friday the 14th, Saturday the 15th is. I'm desperate. I can't get in there. You gotta have an in Polana's.
I don't know,
Joe.
man. I'll try. I can try, but so it has to be Polana, huh?
Well, that's your favorite spot. I got a backup plan. Bella Verona up in Salem. She did like that, but she said Polana's. So now it's pressure, Joe.
Well, I would do this. I would call whoever the hostess is, and just say, if you get an opening, can please call me back.
All right. Well, I'll try. Can't drop the name there, huh, Joe?
Yeah, well, I don't know. No, but if you go across the street to Sylvan Street Grill where I met you, that's.
Oh, I know. I could go there. You're like the Godfather over there, sitting in the corner, handing out cake to people. I get it.
No, you saw that cake. That's right. I was definitely handing out cake. Hey,
that's the first time I met you. You handed me cake, and Kendra was eating cake.
Hey,
he couldn't even talk half one.
JP,
Yep.
I'm with Jake. He's new to the Sports Hub. newly hired to the Sports Hub. Do you have any advice for him?
Yes. Get in Dennis Knutsen's pocket. The man knows technology. He makes things happen. This way, when you're running a board and you got a problem, you know the man to go to. You go right to the top.
That's great advice.
That's good. Yeah, it's good stuff.
You know Dennis?
Dennis showed me the board at the Patriots games. I saw him out in Arizona. He was showing me that board. That board's massive.
Oh, you went and saw him at the Super Bowl in Arizona?
No, not the Super Bowl. When they played the Cardinals like a few weeks ago.
Oh, you went to the game?
Yeah, they played the Cardinals.
And you got to go up to the booth?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Dr. Capella, you got me a credential. It's very nice. We had a great time.
You got credentialed?
Yeah.
Jake will be at Radio Row.
What?
Yeah. I'm going with ASU Student Radio Station. We'll be down there.
But tell Joe how you got that to happen, though.
Oh, so Radio Row we knew was this thing that I wanted to do. So I went to ASU, and I lived in Phoenix, and I found out that Radio Row was happening like a block away from my apartment when I was in college. And I always wanted to go. I grew up seeing it, wanted to be there. So all I did was I just tried to figure out who to get in contact with to try and figure out something. I ended up finding the NFL Communications website, just made an account. 3 months later, I got approved on the website, got my account made, and then just submitted a credential, and we got our own little table set up. And
that's really all you need is an affiliation and a credential.
Yeah, that's it. So I was affiliated with the students radio station, got our credential, put it out there, and
that's how you do it now going forward. If you want to sell it, well, you could technically ask our bosses.
Yeah, well, we had this plan for a little bit before.
That's great. So you'll be on Radio Row, like interviewing people.
Yeah. So we went last year in Vegas and the year before that in Phoenix, and we'll be back.
So this is your third year.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like it there.
It's amazing. Arizona, huh?
It's nice weather this time of year.
Yeah. Do you miss being
So
there?
I miss the weather, not because I hate the cold, but I never really got all stuffed up. I'm home now, and I just feel like I'm always stuffed up. I got some I'm not sick or anything, but it just feels like you're not 100%. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I miss in Arizona where I just I kept my window open year round. I didn't have to worry about any bad temperatures or anything like that. It was nice.
Are you from Billerica?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Born and raised.
You have no dialect whatsoever.
I think I got rid of it when I went to Phoenix. I think I had it a little bit. It's only a few words. Like north, I can't say.
Oh, I can't say Norwood. I can't do it.
Yeah, north.
Norwood.
North and fourth are the two words for me. I can't do.
Yeah.
But car, I'm fine with. I can do everything else.
Paper,
newspaper.
Wicked different.
Car.
Wicked different. Wicked different. I say wicked still.
I do say wicked.
Yeah.
That's.
Listen, it comes out all the time.
Yeah. You can't get rid of that stuff.
But you, in particular, though, I would not picture you from a man from the Dirty Rick.
No, I don't have that accent. I don't know why I avoided it, but never got. My little brother, he has it really, really strong.
All right. Well, Brett in Billerica is on the line. Hi, Brett.
Joe, how's it going?
How you doing?
I just saw Jake shake his head.
What's up, Brett?
Hello.
Tell me something about Jake.
All right, let me tell you something, Joe. I'm going to make this quick. You guys got the best intern you guys could possibly get.
Well, no, he's hired now.
Yeah, well, even better. Comes from a group of our friends, one of our best friends, best kid you guys could get. So didn't want to take too much time because I know he's super excited about this. But, Joe, I'm going to get off the line real quick. Don't want to take any of his time.
All right, thank you. He doesn't want to take your time.
Appreciate it, Brett.
You know him?
Yeah, he's one of my good friends.
Okay, not your brother or anything.
No. Good. Well, kind of similar. You know,
like
good, really
a boy.
Friend.
He was like, yeah, okay. Like Lifshatz.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, gotcha.
Just like that.
Sam is on the line. Hi, Sam.
Hey, Joe. How you doing?
Hi.
Joe, long-time listener, first-time calling here. Hey, listen, Joe, I run a small little business down in Boston. I see that you follow us on Instagram, but, we're a little pop-up shop. You haven't come out to one of our
What's it called?
It's Sticky's Club. THICCYS Club.
Yeah, I know exactly who you guys are.
How do you know who we are?
Well, you said I follow you on social media.
So why haven't you come out to one of our events?
Well, where are you?
Still, we're everywhere and anywhere. When do you want us to pop up?
So it's up to me now. I'm doing
No, it's not up to you.
I don't think it's how business
Listen,
works.
Joe, I'm willing to cater to you. Wherever you want us to go, we'll go.
This is what I would suggest. Put you on hold. James Scaramazino will get your contact information and we'll coordinate something.
10-4. I love it, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you. Scaz, you're on that one.
Look at that. Man of the people.
We get a lot of food drops here.
You get a late night food drop.
You would like that. That would be very fun. There's a lot going on right now. The Blackhawks deal is finally done. The Cowboys have hired Brian Schottenheimer as the new head coach. That's underwhelming.
Yeah.
I think he's good, but it's underwhelming.
I just don't understand why they had to change. Like, there was no really reason to change, and they did it so late. So you lose out on the candidates that you could have had. You tell me Ben Johnson wouldn't have wanted to be the Cowboys head coach? He would have totally gone for that, I think.
Do you think they all along were like, well, if this doesn't work out? Because Schottenheimer's been the offensive coordinator there for a couple of years. And he did well with Cooper Rush.
Yeah, he did do good. I mean, they were a solid team this year.
Good, whatever.
They were a solid team this year, especially with L. Prescott.
Robert Saleh officially has taken the 49ers defensive coordinator job. There's all this happening right now. You're on the air, and it's all happening.
So that one's interesting to me, because if you're the 49ers, I think Saleh's a great defensive coordinator. I think he's done a good job, but not as a head coach. So isn't it funny, though? It relates back to New England. You think anyone in the Niners, media or fans, will be saying they have two head coaches? That Robert Saleh can come in and
two head coaches.
Only focus on the defensive side.
Two head coaches.
You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
You think anyone's going to say that?
Nope. Ben's in Nashua. Hi, Ben.
Hey, Joe. How you doing tonight?
Hi.
Just seeing if you played the TNA wrestling game and the Lex Luger
That's
T-shirt.
you. I have them still in my basement. I haven't played the game, but I still have. I see them. I walk by them every day.
I'm waiting for the day that you mention on the air, but I appreciate you knowing who it is.
Thank you. I got bottom. This man met me at the Wilbur Theater and gave me a T-shirt and a TNA video playing game. I still have it.
Did you play the game?
Nope. But I have it. I see it, and I think of him. And now I know his name's Ben, and he's from Nashua.
Wait, so he just gave you the stuff?
Imagine just showing up to work at an event, and someone gives you stuff. Some guy tried to give me weed, too, but I said no to that.
That's smart.
All right, Jake, stay by. We got to take a break here. This is how we do it in the business. We're going to wrap things up. I want your predictions for the weekend. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right. I'm Joe Murray. Jake Seymour, like Richard.
Long walks, cousin.
Richard. All right, we'll take a quick break. I'm Joe Murray.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
All right, back here, 98.5, the Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Just real quick, want to thank Skaz for all his help tonight. Jake Seymour is in studio. Thank you, Jake, as well. Lifshatz. I'll be on Sunday at 10 a.m. with Leroy Irvin. So they're bringing in the champions. Myself and Leroy back together.
That's good.
Are you going to be here, too?
I will be. Back there in the studio.
Champions. It's Championship Sunday. That's good to know. We'll be on YouTube, I believe. So that's great. And then tomorrow I'm doing a card show at Best Flippin'. It's at the Crown Plaza in Woburn. I got lots of Drake May cards. Lots of Drake May cards.
That's good. All sleeved. Like you guys sleeves them, put some.
Oh, yeah, sleeves, top loaders, one touches, and graded.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and I got a giant Drake May blow up downtown. And you can Google that. All right, Jake, who you got? Who's winning both games?
So I think when you look at the first game, we'll start with the AFC. Buffalo, Kansas City. I mean, it's hard not to pick the Chiefs. I feel like they have this like Patriots kind of aura around them where it's just like they can't not win. They always just, or they can't not lose, sorry. Like they just have this ability to figure out a way to pull out games and win them. Like you've seen like the missed field goals, the blocked field goals, these weird things that happen in between the games in the middle that you just like, oh, this missed extra point probably won't do anything. And the next thing you know, it's like, oh, well, they won by 4 points and a field goal here would have, forced an overtime or whatever, right? So I'm leaning towards the Chiefs.
I'm leaning towards the Chiefs. And we got 35 seconds. Who about the NFC?
NFC, I'm going to say Eagles. So it's me